Jake Bockhoven. My last week. In fact, my last 4 shows begin now.
Oh, there's only 3 left now. We get off on Friday.
I have one with Foreman tonight.
Oh, you do? That's exciting.
I'm going to be in with Jay Foreman tonight from 4 to 6, so I'm counting that as a show. I think it's called a show.
Yeah.
I think it's called Old School with DP and Jay Foreman. So I'm going to be co-hosting with Jay today.
That's exciting.
So that'll be exciting. And then we do a Wednesday show. Then we do a Thursday show. And then I'm getting the heck out of here.
Retiring in Arizona or Florida? Or where do you think?
I'll probably be back within a month begging DP for a job.
Okay.
But at this point, I'm gone.
It's time for a break.
These 4 shows. I looked up because Happer mentioned, he hadn't seen Rocky, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, greatest movies of all time. How many have I not seen? Like, if you were to look up on your computer, you don't have your computer in here.
No.
Right, greatest movies of all time. How many of them do you think you would have not seen?
Probably several of them. Again, I don't really watch anything before I was born. I mean, there's few. I definitely do like
You're
some
an
of them, but
ageist.
I'm pretty much an ageist because and it's really hard to watch anything even from the 90s now, because the 90s they thought that they had really good like graphics and stuff, and they didn't. It was like Windows 2000 type of graphics. So it's interesting. It gets tougher, but there's also like newer movies. People would argue completely differently. They just don't have any originality, and they're all remakes, and the originals are better. So it just kind of depends on the way that you personally connect to the movies. I always just I always like watching movies that I haven't seen. Some people like to watch their favorite movies over and over again. I more like to explore new, different movies.
I'm pulling up this list. Greatest movies of all time. IMDb. I mean, those people know movies.
Oh yeah,
right?
Those are the movie people.
Or IMDb or whatever it is. But Godfather. You've seen that, right?
No, I told you I watched like 15 minutes of it. All they were doing is complaining about a wedding, and I was out.
Yeah, it takes forever for people to get killed.
I know.
If they would just kill more people and faster.
You have to start it off. You got to get my attention quickly. If Godfather was made today, there would be a death within the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Pull you in.
There's got to be many more deaths than there are in. It's like Heidi's favorite movie. And most people say, like you say, what's the greatest movie of all time? Everybody says Godfather.
Oh, I know.
Shawshank Redemption. Have you seen it?
I have seen that one, yeah.
That's a great movie. That's number 2 according to this list. Schindler's List. Not exactly happy, but I have seen it. Raging Bull. Have you seen that?
I've not seen Raging Bull.
I have, but it's been years and years. Casablanca.
No.
Citizen Kane.
No.
They made us watch that for a filmography class in college, and it's terrible.
That's from like the 40s.
It's so slow. Orson Welles, I believe, does that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's terrible. Gone with the Wind.
I don't think so.
So you haven't seen any of the best movies? Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I've seen the Wizard of Oz.
A Few Good Men. Oh, actually, that's not on. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't know why I said A Few Good Men. The text line said A Few Good Men.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that one.
See, a lot of these, I would imagine we're not alone.
Yeah.
And Happer's not alone. He hadn't seen Rocky. He's a young guy. He's 27, 28, something like that. And it was made in the late 70s. So it's not in his era.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
I think everybody does have that kind of blind spot. I mean, even if you argue with your, if you're a filmer, you really like films, you still have your blind spots that you just never got to, because there's so many great films and there's so many bad ones. And so, but the new ones are always interesting. So that's what always pulls me in. I've seen a bunch of movies in theaters that aren't nearly as good as the movies I haven't seen that are on the top of this list. But
have you gone to movies in theaters recently?
Recently?
I haven't been to a movie in a theater for a while.
I did go post-pandemic. Well, I mean, the pandemic's still going, but at a time there, I can't remember what I. Oh yeah, I went and saw Mortal Kombat, the new one.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that's a good movie. I've seen a couple of the Mortal Kombat.
Those are not good movies, but they're just I like them, but they're bad. They're they're tough to watch if you don't get it. If you're not into it.
Yeah. Well, I've never even played the game, and I've seen a couple of the movies.
And you thought they were okay?
I thought they were okay.
You need to go rewatch them again. You're not going to think that anymore.
You think I'm wrong?
I
You just
think you're
I'm
wrong. No, I love Mortal Kombat. I know they're bad movies.
Okay. You embrace that part
Yeah.
of that. Okay. We might have another quarterback before school starts, Bock. January 18th is when school starts. And Nebraska desperately needs a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
You got to find a quarterback. And I wonder if they're maybe reaching with some of the offers. Yeah, I understand the Chubba Purdy offer because you need a quarterback. And Mark Whipple has already recruited him to Pittsburgh. They didn't get him. In fact, he had an offer from Pittsburgh, obviously when Whipple was there. But instead, they got Slovis, Keaton Slovis, who Nebraska was also after.
Yeah.
So now it looks like the best guy on the board might be Chubba Purdy. Would you agree with that?
Not based on his stats. I mean, he's got some upside. He didn't play a whole lot at Florida State. Had kind of having an injury that held him back there. Obviously, we know the name, right? Brock Purdy over at Iowa State. Seems like he's been there for 6 years and helping them get over the hump there with Matt Campbell. But this would not be in the category for me. And I said this kind of all along is I've been interested. Are they going to get a starter out of the portal? Or are they going to get competition? If they do get Purdy, and they've offered him, that's the news. It's not that he's committed. If they do get him, that's competition for Logan Smothers. That's not necessarily your starter, just because he hasn't been a starter. He doesn't come over from being a starter somewhere. But he's a young quarterback, and I said this yesterday. I can't change my mind now that the offer's out there. I like Purdy if they grab another quarterback as well. I think Purdy's like a good long-term project. But he's not the answer. He's for your whole 1 year experiment that they're putting together and throwing together. You have to make it worth it. And Purdy,
he doesn't have enough stats.
He just hasn't played, so it's not like it's like I said, it's competition for an offense that doesn't have a name necessarily to lean on. You were hoping to get a name. Jake Haener, their first attempt there from Fresno State. That would be huge.
Big stats.
Yeah. But it is interesting and too, because we kind of know the names that they've been after. This is their fourth one. And they didn't get the first three, and those were all pocket style quarterbacks. What Purdy does bring to the table is some wheels. So I mean, I know you like that.
I like that, but you're right. The experience, like he doesn't have Miles Brennan or Keaton Slovis or certainly Jake Haener type experience. He doesn't have Adrian Martinez type experience.
Oh, no, you're not getting better in the quarterback room.
We go back to that whole conversation all the time. The best guy out there is the guy that you had, Adrian Martinez. If Adrian, we didn't know about Adrian. We knew all the flaws of Adrian, but he had never played at Nebraska, and he had these same stats. We'd be very excited about the possibility of getting Adrian Martinez.
Yeah, you would. And then Kansas State is. I mean, and it's exciting to see what happens with him. I mean, he's a top 35 type of quarterback in college football last year. He was that. I mean, so. But the problem is, and I kind of said it jokingly, you almost needed, your third down running backs. You needed a fourth quarter quarterback. You needed a game-winning drive quarterback, and it just never worked out one way or the other. Whether it was his fault or something happened on special teams or whatever it was sometimes he wasn't out on the field. But I just can't imagine how that team found a way to lose so many times. But it wasn't just this year; it's been years. The Adrian Martinez experiment. It was time to part ways with. So I think even if they're worse off without him, and I think they are, if you had Purdy and nobody else from the portal, you're worse in that quarterback room. It's still worth the division to go and try something different because the Martinez experiment didn't work. It worked. He put up numbers. He broke records. He was 3-time captain. We know all the good stories. Seemingly a great guy. We'll all cheer for him. But as far as winning games, it just never happened and never materialized.
Played 2 years at Florida State. You're right. I said the best out there from an athletic standpoint. He doesn't have the experience, but he's the type of quarterback I would like at Nebraska. Played 2 years, but the stats are very minimal. He's got some athletic ability that I like. Would I be more excited about a Casey Thompson? Maybe. And because I'm trying to think of the name still out there. Zach Calzada from Texas A&M. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a lot of guys left on the board unless other guys jump in the portal.
Yeah, as of now. And it's interesting because there is a possibility they grab two from the portal. But if you grab two from the portal, that really puts Logan in a weird position, and in a position that I don't think you need to force him into. I think that he's a good prospect. I think that you could win games with him next year. He may not be like an Adrian Martinez that you could rely on him quite as much, or I don't think he'd be all Big Ten caliber or anything like that quite yet. But I think you could win some games with him, and I think he's worth keeping around. If you grab Purdy from the portal as a project and then your starter, that really puts Logan in a weird position.
Corey says he's going to miss my pronunciation of Keaton Slovish. See, there I did it again. Slovish and Matty Kubik. It's Kubik. Yes. I do mispronounce a lot of names.
Names are tough, aren't they?
I hate names. If people just had, everybody had the name Tom, it would be a lot easier.
I always liked the Roy Halu. No, it's Halu.
Yeah, that's right.
Or Quincy Anunwa. It's Anunwa.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes we didn't learn until the end of their career,
right?
What their name was.
Because they don't care.
Yeah.
For the most part, they don't really care. Just call me my last name. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Sometimes you could say their name in front of them and they wouldn't correct you.
No.
Is that right? And they'll just say, yeah, that's
sure.
Right. I don't have the time.
I liked Josh Kalu, went to Joshua Kalu. Only call him Joshua Kalu.
Wasn't it Kalu at one time and then it was Kalu?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm bad with names. I mispronounce names a lot. I'm sorry, Corey. I'm right up there. I'd say Steve Sipple. I'd say I'm slightly ahead of Sipple on mispronunciations or pronunciation.
It happens to everybody. Yes, we always point out the Sioux year where he was Mr. Sioux because nobody knew how to read Indomitian.
Yep, that's right. Right up there. In fact, I did Big Sioux for a while, and then
did you
Indomitian?
Yeah,
it's Indomitian because nobody knew. You always heard 10 different pronunciations of Indomitian, so you just said Big Sioux. You just fell like I give up on that one. Ohio State hoops. They've canceled their game for today with New Orleans. They will not be playing today, so you wonder if they'll be able to play against Nebraska on Sunday. But that game, according to them, they put out a press release saying they plan to play Sunday when they come to PBA to take on Nebraska. But it feels like, man, college basketball's got some work to do to get in all these games this year. I mean, they did last year. Nebraska, of course, had to play 15 games in 33 days last year. You wonder if that's going to be the case again this year. They are saying, a lot of the leagues are saying, I know the ACC is, that if you've been vaccinated, they're going to try to get to where the NFL or the NHL is, like 6 days if you don't test positive again, trying to get these games in. But it makes you wonder if they will.
Yeah, I think it's just it's going to become the new norm to maybe miss a player or two. And that's frustrating. It's it's not exactly what you want, but it's how you get through these times. And who knows? It's seemingly it's upon us again, right? So this might be here for a minute. So I liked at least that they're adjusting the rules from the 2020 rules, where sometimes you have forfeits, or you'd have to completely move a game. There's just a more of an idea and understanding what's going on, and then of course a lot more people vaccinated. So it's interesting, and it will impact Nebraska's season. There's no doubt about it in my mind, in one way or the other. And might start Sunday.
Casey Thompson, Sanderson's wondering about him. We've mentioned Casey Thompson,
yeah, the Texas quarterback,
many times. The son of Charles Thompson, who played at Oklahoma. I think he's still on the board.
Yeah.
I haven't heard Nebraska's relationship to him or whether they're even interested. Unlike Purdy, I haven't even heard if he's received an offer.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of funny because no matter what name drops in, we do our speculation. Like there's never necessarily anything there for Bo Nix, but Bo Nix got a bunch of hope from Nebraska fans there, even though there was no contact. Again, I think that the names that have been reported as contacted or as interest, was Hainer from Fresno State, was Brennan from LSU. And then the Keaton Slovis, who ended up going to Pitt. So now they're on to their fourth one. They made the offer to Purdy, and he's different in so many different ways than those other three, who I would consider coming in would be starters, our pocket style quarterbacks. He's a dual threat and hasn't had starting experience. So more of a competition piece if they get him. Remember, they just offered him, and there's still plenty of other teams that are offering him, I'm sure, too. So
some of these questions, I'm guessing we could ask Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com what he knows about the portal, who's been offered by Nebraska, who hasn't, how Purdy Chubba Purdy might fit Nebraska in the plans going forward. And where is Nebraska as far as his pecking order might be concerned? Because I'm sure he's going to receive other offers if he hasn't already. So we'll talk to Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com coming up next on Tom and Bock.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Decreasing cloud cover today. We'll reach a high of 44, but temperatures fall this afternoon behind a strong cold front, which will also bring north winds gusting over 25. Partly cloudy tonight with low dropping down to 14. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow. A chance at some light snow and only a high of 29. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
What does better service mean? At Allo, it means that you get the best fiber internet available at prices that work for you. Better service means installers who show up on time. Better service means no billing shenanigans. Better service means a real person answers the phone. If you're not paying for better service, what are you paying for? Get Allo. Get better service. Switch today at allofiber.com/better service.
Starting the right career is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. You want to enjoy your career, be challenged, have fun, earn a great weekly paycheck, and work for a great company. If you're looking for a career change or right out of high school, the John Henry's Plumbing Apprentice Program may be the perfect answer. You'll get paid while getting hands-on training. We focus on your skills while you engage in real-world learning. Why not join the John Henry's team today? Apply at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating it in.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
One-on-one with DP.
What's been the difference?
I think it's a system that I formed for myself. And it didn't start here. Like we've talked about my history, I've played with Michael Porter and Trey Young, and I've played with these guys, and I started playing basketball when I was 8th grade, and I was the tallest dude, and I've just accepted it. I've learned to be okay with it, and I've just made it work for me.
Weekdays from 3 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Look around your house. You don't really have any room for Christmas gifts. Things are stuffed into closets, and your garage is a mess too. For a unique gift this holiday, call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for their Christmas organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that will be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. Storage options for cabinets, monkey bars, shelving, or slat wall. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638. That's 730-1638.
Back to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I don't know if you've seen what Mike Leach is involved with, but he's always entertaining. The Mississippi State now coach, of course, coached at Texas Tech. They're playing. Mississippi State is playing Texas Tech in the Liberty Bowl. In fact, tonight. And Mike Leach wants his money. Texas Tech fired Mike Leach in 2009 for alleged mistreatment of a player following a concussion. At that time, Tech said that, hey, you're fired, and it's with cause, and we owe you nothing. Leach and his lawyers have contended that they owe him millions of dollars, but they're trying to get at least a settlement. He says they still owe me for 2009, the last time they won 9 games. So maybe they'll deliver the check to the bowl game, basically.
Yeah, the Mike Leach Bowl is going to be awesome tonight. He's got an axe to grind with Texas Tech. He finally gets to take it out on him, and we'll see. I mean, the SEC hasn't been very good in bowl games so far, so maybe the mighty conference will fall again. But I have to admit, I'm cheering for Coach Leach tonight.
I'm always cheering for Leach. I wonder if Brian Munson's a fan of Mike Leach. You like Mike Leach, the Pirate?
Absolutely. Well, you know, and my son's former quarterback is committed to Mississippi State, and he'll be joining them in January. So we're Bulldog fans anyway. I got relatives down in Mississippi, but we're going to have some added incentives to support them in the SEC.
Nice. Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com. The latest news for Nebraska football is that they have offered Chubba Purdy, quarterback transfer from Florida State. Is this the guy that's at the top of their list in your mind right now?
It's so tough to say. I mean, at the moment, I would say yes. I think the timing is something that's kind of thrown me off. You know, when Whip was still in Pitt, when he was still at Pittsburgh on December 6th, he offered Chuba. Is it Chuba?
I think it's Chubba. Unlike Chuba Hubbard from Oklahoma State, this is Chubba. This is Chubba Purdy.
So Chubba got an offer from Whip at Pitt on December 6th, but then doesn't pick up an offer from Nebraska until December 27th. And I guess I find that a little bit curious as to, you know, along what lines were they going with their evaluation before? You know, because you had other guys that came off the board that I think that maybe Whip was interested in at Pitt, you know, before as well, that appeared to have Nebraska offers. Now all of a sudden there is an offer out there for Chubba, and I guess I'm just kind of confused by that. But at the moment, I think it is Nebraska's number one option. He seemed to kind of be separating there too, based on other guys either pulling themselves, you know, out of the portal or choosing another place to go to, or figuring out that it basically was virtually impossible for them to pull off a transfer. So yeah, I think that this is Nebraska's guy, at least for the time being. I still don't think that we're done with all the activity. I mean, I think we'll continue to see things as time goes on with other bowl games. I mean, heck, we don't even get to the first playoff games until Friday. I think you'll see other things, you know, through the weekend. Other guys will throw their names out there. And then Nebraska still has time to kind of go through all this before they come back to school in middle of January.
Of course, it is interesting because Chubba Purdy is quite a bit different than the other targets that they've had so far as experience goes, as far as just kind of his dual threat ability compared to the pocket passers that they've been after, and so on and so forth. I mean, if they did add him, he's not necessarily a sure starter, right? I mean, do you think that they'd still be looking for another guy in the portal, or do you think that room would be filled up?
I think the room is going to get filled up with a guy that they're going to take out of the portal and then adding Torres in, and then the existing guys that are there. He is a little bit interesting. He's different. And I had to watch his film. He was from Gilbert, Arizona. So I watched his high school film last night or the night before. It's all kind of blending together with all this holiday stuff kind of still sitting in there in my memory. But he is different looking. he does have some better feet. He does fit the mold a little bit more of what I felt like Scott Frost might be more interested in doing when it comes to, expanding the offense, when it comes to a new offensive coordinator, but not giving up basically that, what I would say to be kind of essential to the quarterback play in his offense or what he likes to do, and that's to have some mobility. So that part to me, I think he kind of fits the profile a little bit better. I don't know necessarily if you're getting much of a big time experienced player to kind of come in to your point about whether or not you would continue to kind of go out there into the portal and try to find another guy to kind of go along with it. I don't think that would be the case. I think that the idea here would be that Chuba would be the guy that they're kind of hanging their hat on for this year to kind of go do the portal. Not saying that possibly wouldn't change again until at the fall after the springtime is over with, because you could potentially go out there in that May-June timeframe, because a lot of things are going to change again after that spring football kind of ends and they figure out where they're at, like in the pecking order, and maybe they got jumped by another underclassman or whatever. You might see another name or two pop up, in that April-May timeframe that could get Nebraska interested again.
Based on the film that you did watch, does he have the arm? Because clearly they seem to be recruiting arm first. So maybe the fact that he has some wheels is just an added bonus. But does he have an arm to compare with some of those other guys that he was after?
Comparatively, I don't want to sit there and tell you that arm strength, wasn't there. His accuracy seemed to be there. He's got a great discipline with keeping his eyes downfield, which is what you really look for in a mobile quarterback, because you don't want the guy that gets happy feet and then all of a sudden starts looking at his blockers and trying to set up cuts as he takes off. So he does have the discipline at least to get to that drop, keep his eyes downfield, go through the progressions, but then can make some things happen to kind of elongate the plays and to potentially then tuck it and run it as well. Arm strength, I've seen Harburg, going back to high school. We've seen Smothers this season. Does he fit into that category? Sure. Torres has got some huge arm strength, and arm talent as well. Saw him play before he tore his ACL. So he's a very, very talented guy too when it comes to arm strength. I think that those guys are very similar. They've all got their strengths and their weaknesses when it comes to, throwing the various passes. I don't know if there's necessarily one guy can go out there and just say, I can throw to every, possible route on the tree and make it successful each and every time. I think that they all can kind of do things a little bit differently. You don't necessarily, I think, have that guy, even by adding Chuba, to say you've got that one guy that can just do all of it.
Ryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. It seems like Nebraska and a lot of schools are maybe playing a little bit of poker. You mentioned you've got these bowl games to be played, and maybe there could be some new names that you would be intrigued about in the portal. But on the other hand, you would think want a guy in by January 18th when school starts. But you mentioned maybe you could even add a guy after spring ball. But that seems risky to bring in a guy, have him learn the terminology and get up to speed in fall camp.
And that would be a scenario there where I think that the player that's jumping into the portal that late would have to understand that. If they're wanting to stay at the D1 level, considering if that's a D1 guy, they would have to understand what they were up against. Now, could they be so immensely talented that it really didn't matter? Yeah, sure, probably. But, I mean, what you just said really is kind of that these are all the facts, and these are the things that where time is up against, you, because you don't have necessarily that formal coaching period where you're out there doing things with your receivers and your offensive line. Yeah, you're watching film. Yeah, you're doing some 7-on-7 stuff, but it's typically not working out with the coaches. You could do some stuff back in the offices with them, I'm sure, for some instruction, but that's all, NCAA regulated. It's a summertime deal. Different rules apply. He could work out with the other quarterbacks, obviously, but those are some tough things to overcome in such a short amount of time. I don't want to sit there and tell you that it would be completely and totally impossible. I mean, consider the fact that we don't know what Nebraska's offense is going to look like right now anyway. So how much of that are they going to get into to where it's impossible to kind of pick up, into a semester, what it is that the new offense is going to really do and how you're going to run it. So there's still some positive sides to all this, but obviously the downside is you're coming in there trying to make something work. You're going to have to probably understand that you're going to be backing up whomever it is that's already there, and then hopefully having a chance to compete and do something different in the following spring.
Of course, all the focus on quarterback is that will pretty much decide what happens this next year. We'll see how all that goes. But they've done a good job, I think, of adding outside of the quarterback position from the portal. Have you seen any other names or positions that they've been attacking besides quarterback lately?
Well, I think offensive line is still going to be a position that we're going to see some movement there. It hasn't happened. It just hasn't taken off like you kind of wished it would. I know that they hosted Hunter Anthony, who's an Oklahoma State transfer. They hosted him earlier in December. I think he's down their list a little bit, though. I don't think that he's necessarily all that high. That's right there as kind of a take guy. If you wanted to go ahead and say, hey, I'm deciding to commit to Nebraska. I think that would be something that they would have to go back and kind of figure out where they're kind of at, with a couple other guys that they got on their list. And I think that those other guys on their list, I think that they've got to figure some things out too. Like you got Ryan Sloboda from Virginia, Tremont Shorts from East Tennessee State. I think there's a couple of guys that are just a notch higher on their board. And then I think Anthony's there, but I don't think he's necessarily their top choice. And then I think, after that, does Nebraska need to make a move at running back? That's an interesting question. And how many offensive linemen, are we really talking about? Because you've already got one. So do you need a third, or is it just the two? And then what about a pass rusher? Do you need an outside linebacker, a pass rushing threat outside linebacker? You got Payne back, but is there another guy that you need on top of that? And then what about Trey Palmer? Trey Palmer may be like the ultimate wild card. Nebraska may not be necessarily like in the market for another transfer wide receiver, but I don't know how they would turn down Trey Palmer. Yeah. There's a 5-star athlete and could really, add some big things to that wide receiver room and could keep Nebraska building that presence in the state of Louisiana as well.
Yeah, if Trey Palmer is available and that's a Mickey Joseph connection, you got to take him. I mean, at some point, it's best player available, and he would be that for Nebraska. Great stuff. We appreciate the time, Brian. We'll talk to you soon.
Happy New Year, guys.
You too. Hey. Thank you. Brian Munson of HuskerOnline.com. You got to take Trey Palmer, right?
Oh, yeah. And if you can get any time, big time out of the portal, absolutely.
Yeah.
Regardless. I mean, in that wide receiver room, I know it's kind of what we lean on for the strength. But if we're honest, you lost your best wide receiver, and you just kind of have two guys there that are starting to come on and have all this potential, but haven't quite probably hit it quite yet. So, who's to say that's not going to continue?
It'll be interesting to see what Mickey Joseph can do, both with getting guys to come into Nebraska, maybe former LSU guys, maybe not, and also getting guys to stay. I think he'll be really valuable in getting guys to stay. I mean, he's the guy that was on the phone with Jamar Chase all night long. It wouldn't let him, Auburn come in for a visit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's that guy that can talk you into things, and that's what great recruiters do. And things that are probably in your best interest. He talks a lot about, the reason he chose Nebraska over Oklahoma and, the Tom Osborne influence and all that meant to him. And he's a different recruiter than Tom Osborne was, certainly. But I think he's going to be invaluable going forward.
Well, and I think that's, it's kind of weird to look at one staff and maybe a potential next step, but I think he'd be your lead candidate probably on the staff to be a holdover if things do go awry, obviously because of the Nebraska connection. If
maybe
they're going to pay him the same.
Would you think about head coach?
I wouldn't think about that yet.
No,
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But
probably somebody with experience as head coach.
But you would certainly write a big check to keep him.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get the break. Come back with the Blog Jog and Rico next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. The Heartland Athletic Conference Tournament has started, and here are your scores. In men's basketball, Lincoln North Star won over Columbus 67-53. KG Gottweck led the team with 22. Lincoln Southeast got a win over Lincoln High 64-56. Lincoln High is still searching for their first win of the season and now sits at 0-7. Lincoln Southeast will advance to the quarterfinal and will face the undefeated Lincoln Northeast Rockets. Milford won over Superior 61-30. Lyon led the team with 25 points. In girls basketball, Lincoln Southeast lost in overtime to Columbus 54-50. Kearney coasted to a win over Lincoln North Star 64-34. Lincoln East won over Norfolk 58-31. Lincoln Northeast dominated Grand Island 66-6. They are on a hot stretch defensively. In the last 2 games, Lincoln Northeast has scored 151 points while only allowing 11. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Allo knows businesses need reliable communication, both at the office and at home. Now more than ever. Just listen to Bill Mitchner from Lighthouse.
Before we'd have breaks in service, especially for internet, but we've never had any issues with Allo. It's always been there and available when we needed it.
At Allo, supporting your business is our business. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685 today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Decreasing cloud cover today. We'll reach a high of 44, but temperatures fall this afternoon behind a strong cold front, which will also bring north winds gusting over 25. Partly cloudy tonight with low dropping down to 14. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow, a chance at some light snow, and only a high of 29. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Look around your house. You don't really have any room for Christmas gifts. Things are stuffed into closets, and your garage is a mess too. For a unique gift this holiday, call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for their Christmas organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that will be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. Storage options for cabinets, monkey bars shelving, or slat wall. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638. That's 730-1638.
Grab yourself a hot dog, pour a glass of eggnog, and settle in. This is the Blog Jog on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is Blog Jog time. Rico is here getting ready for his airtime. And here he is. Hi, Rico. How are you?
Hello.
How are things?
I am well. How are you?
Fantastic.
How's your final week feeling?
It's coming to an end. Final 4 shows. I have this show, and then I'm on with Jay Foreman this afternoon, then 2 more shows after that. Not that I'm counting down or anything.
How many hours is that?
I don't know.
Minutes, seconds.
Seconds. I'll let you know the final count.
He's got a calendar. He's just like,
You think?
Huh?
I say you think after you're done, we might hear you on the ticket at some point again.
I
As far as
think it's very possible.
Yeah.
DP talked about maybe doing hosting one of the night shows.
the weeknight shows. Yeah, I think that'd
Tom
be
can't
awesome.
stay retired.
That's right. I can't stay retired. I've got to fill my day. Otherwise, I'll resort to drugs and
Rachel asked me. She goes. Do you think Tom will stay retired? I was like, nah, I don't see that lasting. Well, she said, I don't remember how she worded it, but I was like, nah, I don't see that lasting more than a few months, maybe a couple of weeks. And she goes, wait, what? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, oh, you mean he'll come back to work? I thought you meant he was gonna die. I was like, I don't know that.
Not that close.
I've been close before.
You have been, but I
the
think
goal is.
I was like, no, I don't think so.
The goal is to not die. I think
that's always the goal.
Yeah. And I'm not retiring from life. I mean, I'm still doing other things.
Yeah, he's still working.
Yeah, I'm still working. I work at. I don't want to say. I want to say.
Yeah.
You don't have to say.
I don't want to say.
But you'll be back.
But he's not retiring to Arizona or Florida. Is the point.
No. But I will miss you guys every single
Would
day.
you retire to Minnesota so you can just go to every Vikings game and be sad?
The problem is living in Minnesota. It's cold.
That would not be a good retirement
Arizona
spot.
would be better.
Yeah.
If they could just move the Vikings to Arizona and move the Cardinals to Minnesota.
Yeah, would you
that'd be great.
retire to Arizona and just watch the Vikings whenever they played around that area?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Arizona, California.
Is there a lot of great golf in Minnesota?
There are some really
I
good
there
golf
would
courses.
Be, just not in the winter.
Minnesota's a beautiful state.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just don't want to be there in the winter.
Would you go ice fishing?
No, I'm not an ice fisherman. I mean, I don't like fishing.
I'm not an ice fisherman.
Warm weather fishing, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
would do that.
I told you guys I went to Tampa, and there were just like sharks under my buddy's dock. I mean, just right by the ocean is where he lives.
Did
and
you go deep sea fishing? Did you try to catch a marlin or something?
I would do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You got to get like strapped in for those.
Do you eat marlin though? I mean, is it?
I don't know.
Is it marlin good eating?
Or
you just?
I don't know.
I think they're just huge. You
I
just
think
catch
they're
them.
just a sport fish.
Yeah, they might
Do you
be.
throw them back or do you keep them marlin?
No, people keep those.
You hang them on your
Depending-
wall.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be a hang on the wall fish guy.
I think you can.
Even if it was a giant marlin, you wouldn't. I think a marlin is cool. I now that you mention it, I want to catch a marlin.
Yeah,
You do?
see?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Box things to do list.
Buck,
He wants
marlin.
to catch a marlin.
They're considered a delicacy, actually.
Yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
really?
Smoked marlin is very popular around the world.
Okay. Then maybe I'll go marlin fishing when I
Like
retire.
I said, you got to strap in though. They get you
That's right.
the whole thing is like strapped to your waist.
Sounds dirty when you,
You
say
gotta-
it that way.
You got to make sure you don't, break your back
Strap
trying
in,
to reel
catch
it
a
in.
marlin.
Just saying. It's very important.
It is time for the blog jug. This is Rico. What do you got?
Some stuff and some things. This one comes from the TaiwanNews.com. McDonald's China confirms it's testing exercise bikes in their stores.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So
They
you
have
don't feel
stationary-
bad about eating McDonald's.
Yeah, no, they have stationary bikes with little like tables. So you sit on the bike, you have your food, you bike while you eat.
I like it.
You'd have to have somebody feed you, wouldn't you?
No, you could do it.
No, you could do it. It'd just be gross. They'd have to clean those. There'd like ketchup all over it.
I remember, like, I'll have my water bottle as I'm walking, and I have a tread climber. It's an incline thing, and you can't even drink water properly on those things.
It's difficult.
For me, it is, but that's a climber because you're on an incline,
Yeah.
and sometimes I lose my balance just grabbing some water.
Yeah, no, you
I
just
can't
sit-
imagine trying to eat on that.
Well,
At
you're
least you're
sitting
just
down.
sitting,
There's
yeah.
like a little seat. You sit down, and there's chargers that you can charge your phone and whatever other devices with the energy you're using from
Right.
pedaling.
Like,
And
if
all
you're
that bikes are made from all recycled
Right.
materials. They're trying to get
Right.
people to be healthier. So maybe you ride bikes instead of driving your car.
But I always find it weird because McDonald's has had this health initiative. The biggest goal, if you're trying to get people healthy, is to not eat McDonald's, I believe,
Right.
would be the first step.
right.
But I do like the idea of taking away some of those calories while
Right.
you're eating. I used to,
Yeah.
before I could drive, my mom always used to take me to the YMCA.
Mhm.
We'd work out, and then we'd go eat Burger King.
That's your reward.
Yeah.
You gotta
But
get
maybe if
you
you
gotta
were-
get all that
Yeah.
energy back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you were on the bike eating a Big Mac, maybe you
Yeah.
can eat more Big Macs.
Look, as long as you work out, you can eat McDonald's. Chad Ochocinco, he exclusively eats McDonald's. Well, not exclusively, but he eats a lot of McDonald's, smokes cigars. He's in great shape because he works out every day.
Yeah.
I eat cheeseburgers, but I'll take one of the buns off. And so it's a lot healthier to do that way.
Yeah.
My favorite ESPN commercial of all time is the one where Lance Armstrong is pedaling to the basement, and Dan Patrick has to go all the way to the basement because Lance is stopped and the lights go off.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
One of my favorites ever. Made me think of
That'd be a good way to keep your energy bill low.
That's right. What else you got?
This one comes from kcci.com. A woman returns from Europe to find her gifts packaged in her luggage have been replaced by dog food and other items that are not hers. She came back from France, just a Europe trip. She bought stuff in France, totaling in around $3,000. Flew back to New Hampshire. She opened it up, and there was dog food, shaving cream, and some other stuff.
Yeah, that's not quite the memories that she was hoping to make over in Europe.
Or unless she could give it to her dog. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Would your dog like French dog food? Do you think, or he'd go? I'm only American. I only eat American.
Only America.
I wonder, can dogs test?
Do they care?
Well, if you put two dog food bowls down, one's French, one's American, would they go right for the American dog food?
Well, that also goes along with the question where when dogs see police dogs, do they go, "Oh crap, it's the cops"?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, do they know?
You've been thinking about this stuff probably
profile.
way too much.
So your dog has to keep a low profile. So it's like I got this.
When my brother was a kid, he would like 3. He would eat dog food. He would eat the food out of the dog's dish sometimes.
And you had to stop him.
You had to stop.
Did you stop him?
No, we were kind of amused.
Stop,
by it.
stop him!
Look at that idiot kid again, huh?
Tom's like, look at him eating dog food again.
And my brother will
He
eat
thinks
anything.
he's a dog. Sometimes I think dogs. I love dogs. I love my dog, but sometimes I think we give them too much credit and hope that they know things. And then later you'll just see them like eating their own puke or something. You're like, he's not smart. He
They're like,
know
oh, my
what
dog is so smart, and then they like just roll over in the grass. You're like,
yeah, he's like rolling on dead
That's right.
stuff outside.
Why are you doing that then?
It's like trying to eat a
He's so
stick and he
smart.
keeps throwing it up. And you're like, what are you doing?
You're not very smart.
Good thoughts. Appreciate it. Thanks, Rico.
Hey, no problem.
Let's get to box tops and the category today. What is it?
Well, in honor of you leaving this week, we're going to celebrate your favorite team, the Vikings. I have my top 10 list of my favorite Vikings. You'll react to those and probably give a few of your favorites as well.
I love it. Top 10 Minnesota Vikings on box tops coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 A Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Decreasing cloud cover today will reach a high of 44, but temperatures fall this afternoon behind a strong cold front, which will also bring north winds gusting over 25. Partly cloudy tonight with low dropping down to 14. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow, a chance at some light snow, and only a high of 29. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Allo knows businesses need reliable communication, both at the office and at home. Now more than ever. Just listen to Bill Mitchner from Lighthouse.
Before we'd have breaks in service, especially for internet, but we've never had any issues with Allo. It's always been there and available when we needed it.
At Allo, supporting your business is our business. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685 today.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Coppell Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Coppell, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at Coppell koppelcars.com.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
One-on-one with DP.
What's been the difference?
I think it's a system that I formed for myself. And it didn't start here. Like we've talked about my history, you know, I've played with Michael Porter and Trey Young, and I've played with these guys, you know, and I started playing basketball when I was 8th grade, and I was the tallest dude, and I've just accepted it. I've learned to be okay with it, and I've just made it work for me.
Weekdays from 3 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Earth 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I'm not commenting on that until I'm ready to comment on it.
Jake Bockoven.
You watch the game. You figure it out, huh? What do you think?
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 2, Tom and Bock. Tom Stevens here, Jake Bockoven there. Anything I can get you? Are you okay, Bock?
I think I'm doing good so far.
All right. Just let me know.
All right.
Get you
what if I want a cheeseburger and you go grab one?
That's not
Oh, not that.
You're not getting anything, actually. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's not just these lightweight bowl games that guys are backing out of. And actually, you know, when it all started with Kenny Pickett, Peach Bowl isn't necessarily a lightweight game. That's a pretty good game.
Oh yeah.
And then you had Kenneth Walker III back out of that game. And so those were the two big stars in that entire game. And I thought, you know, is this going to continue? And now it is. But this one kind of surprised me. Ohio State's going to be without 4 starters when they face Utah in the Rose Bowl. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson's, also Haskell Garrett. So some big names have backed out of the Rose Bowl. And Kirk Herbstreit, who played at Ohio State, played quarterback there, is not happy about it. He said something to the fact that you go and compete your ass off, you know, but he's an old school guy who thinks that they should be playing in the Rose Bowl. I guess it surprises me because the Big Ten loves the Rose Bowl. Remember when Iowa made the college football, or actually Iowa had a chance to, and then they were beaten by Michigan State. But I remember a bunch of Iowa fans at that time saying, what if we beat Michigan State and we're in the college football playoff and we missed the Rose Bowl?
All right.
Yeah. There was that thought out there. The Big Ten loves its Rose Bowl. And now Ohio State backing out of these games are thinking it's a meaningless exhibition. Maybe you would think that from Ohio State, who actually plays for championships and wins championships. But I think Woody Hayes might roll over in his grave.
Yeah, he might, but it is the changing of the guard in college football. Things are changing. And you're right. I mean, I think they're the only team that wouldn't be very proud and honored. I mean, everybody else is basically hanging a banner, you know, because you have to win the Big Ten championship or, you know, a Rose Bowl appearance or whatever for this game. And Ohio State is most of them have moved on or looking the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're used to playing for championships. So they're kind of the program that is above the rest. Their expectations are above the rest. And that's what made the Michigan upset so special. Obviously, Ohio State has beaten them over and over again throughout the last decade. To be able to get that win and send, It's like sending Ohio State home. They get to go to the Rose Bowl, but they're not happy about it. So, it was basically sending them home
Right.
and unhappy. And a lot of those guys, obviously, the other part of it is the reason why they're disappointed is because they have a team that should have been in the college football playoff. They have, I think it's 4 or 5 guys that are sitting out of this game so they can prepare for the draft.
Yeah,
that means you're going to be a first, second round draft pick, likely. I mean, most of them are.
It just seems like if Nebraska had made the Rose Bowl and somebody like right now in year 4 of Frost, we'd think this is crazy.
We'd lose our minds.
How can you sit out? I understand. I mean, maybe last year when a bunch of guys after beating Rutgers didn't want to go to a bowl game, if they were going to go to a bowl game, I can forgive that, even though I know you were a little mad about it.
But they didn't want to. Well,
but if it were the Rose Bowl,
yeah,
and a bunch of guys backed out, I would think, man, come on, you can't do that. It's the Rose. Nebraska's finally back, and you're not going to the Rose Bowl. I guess it's a different conversation when you're Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson or Haskell Garrett. Those guys are big name guys who are going to be top 3. In the case of Wilson and Olave, they're going to be first round draft picks. And I don't know where Haskell Garrett, probably around, top 3 rounds for sure. I guess I just never fathomed that we would be at this point. That guys are sitting out of these kinds of games, where it used to be such an honor to go and represent your school in the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, the best game, that you can imagine, even if it's not a part of the 14 playoff. And that's where we are. And I'm wondering if college football on this particular pace can survive outside the playoff. Yeah, it'll be good once you expand it, maybe to 12, 8, whatever you go. But outside of that, it's probably just going to get worse and worse, right?
It will for the traditional college football fan, and it makes it difficult to kind of grade the season, right? Again, I keep going back to, I don't know how much it matters to people, but if I were doing a ballot for the final ranking, I wouldn't include a lot of these results. I mean, the Pittsburgh-Michigan State game, that's a skeleton of both teams. Ohio State, regardless what happens in that game, that's not Ohio State. If they lose, I'm not going to count it too much against their season, because there's always been the factor of they clearly didn't want to be there. But I get it. It's the Rose Bowl, but it is where we are. I mean, the bowls, as soon as you add the playoff, I can't repeat this enough. Those other games just feel so much less significant for those top tier programs. I mean, if you're talking about a game, there's some games where it's a huge deal. Like Mississippi State, we talked about the Mike Leach Bowl. It'd be a pretty good deal to get to 8 wins. For Minnesota to get to 9 wins tonight when they play West Virginia. There's still some meaning out there for some of these bowl games. But once you get to that top tier of teams that had thought that they had a chance to get to the playoff, and then it doesn't happen in the last final weeks, that was their goal. That's what they're looking forward to. So to go play one of these games, it just doesn't do enough for them. And it's understandable. So, I mean, there's different ways, I think, of saving this, but I think something needs to be done. How about I saw this idea on Twitter. Instead of expanding college football's playoff, wipe away the playoff, go back to the traditional route of Big 12 plays in the Orange Bowl, SEC plays in the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl matchup. We know Pac-12 versus Big 10.
That was kind of a playoff.
Do all of that, and then have the +1 championship game after that. So, because you're rarely going to have 3 or 4 teams there after those bowl games that still have a legitimate claim at the championship. The problem was you would have 2 teams sometimes, so you'd have ties. But what should have been done back in the day, play that +1, have Nebraska play Michigan in 1997 or Colorado play Georgia Tech in 1990.
It was kind of fun back in Nebraska won in 1970 because everything fell right in the bowl games.
Oh, yeah.
So those, bowl games become de facto national championships.
Texas still claims that national championship.
That's right. Texas still claims it. Nebraska could have won in 82 had they beat Clemson. Clemson won it because they beat Nebraska in 1982 in the Orange Bowl. There were times, if everything falls right on that day and you kind of see it was almost better in some ways than what we have now because the bowl games meant something. Now it's just, let's wait till New Year's Eve. And none of these other games really matter. They're just exhibitions. I do think what we've said before about name, image, and likeness, if you paid these guys If you paid Olave and Wilson, I mean, would it be worth your while if you got $100,000, $50,000? Some guys would still back out if they knew that they were going to be the first or second pick in the NFL draft. Others may not if they knew, hey, I'm a late first round guy. I'm a second round guy. I don't know, even Kenny Pickett, who's probably not going to be, first through 5 for sure. He's going to be probably top 10. But if you give somebody some money through name, image, and likeness, it seems greedy on the part, but they were always getting paid. Let's face it.
The problem you have there, I think, is that you would start to have more players opt out looking for money. And so how many, sure, Kenny Pickett wants to sit out, so they'd have to pay him. But then Jordan Addison doesn't want to sit out.
Yeah.
Then, one of their tackles says, well, they get money. I should get a smaller amount, but I should get some money, and then it just kind of keeps on. So I wonder if you're opening up a can of worms there, but it's an idea. And again, I think that there are plenty of ideas that we can throw out, that we come up just talking about it, that could remedy the situation even a bit. And I just think it needs it because it's not college football. It just feels very odd. And off the text line, somebody points out, even just with the college football playoff system, the Rose Bowl has taken a significant hit because you're never going, very rarely are you going to get the Pac-12 champ against the Big Ten champ anymore, because those teams would both have to miss the playoffs. So if you are getting it, it's a down year between those conferences anyway. You want the champion of either league in the college football playoff, not the Rose Bowl, unless the Rose Bowl gets moved to inside one of those championships, like we're inside the bracket, right, where it's one of those games, and then it's neither of them. And then it's just whoever lines up 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3.
I think there's enough money. I mean, Texas is a bad example because they're, as far as money is concerned, the king of college football. They're not on the football field, but they still have the money. They have more money than anybody. And they have $10 million in their name, image, and likeness fund. Maybe they could, you wouldn't have to go to the bowl game and say, you pay them. We'll pay them.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could just do the top 5 guys. That make sure you have marquee. Who cares about a second string or, your offensive tackle missing that game? Do you really care? Maybe you do a little bit, and it affects your ability to win. But if you have your marquee players, if you have Olave, if you make sure that you have, a CJ Stroud in a couple of years, or, a Bryce Young, you make sure that he plays. I could see a time, Bock, that if you go to a 16-team playoff, the 16th team, that guy backs out as well, even though it is for the national title. He's thinking, there's no way we're going to win the national title. We're a group of 5 team. If it's, a team like Cincinnati or UCF down the line. I could see guys that are in the college football playoff down the road actually skipping out on these games. I mean, it's the Rose Bowl. The Big Ten celebrates the Rose Bowl like no other conference in the world. You'd think there would be a little internal pressure to play in that game because the Rose Bowl means so much to the Big Ten. But it doesn't. I understand it doesn't mean as much to Ohio State. It just, hey, we play for national titles, and that's it. We don't care about the Rose Bowl.
And Sandman asked, too, what changed in the last few years where opting out if they're the first or second round pick draft in the draft versus 10 to 15 years ago when players would not do that. Part of it is the playoff decision that, where those bowl games just feel less and less meaningful. Yeah. But I think another part of it, you remember we want this, right? But it makes sense for them because even if it's rare, remember Jake Butt at Michigan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to be a first, second round pick. He tears his ACL in the Orange Bowl. It was a game that was not going to mean a whole lot, as far as championships were determined. And he didn't have that long of an NFL career. Now, he didn't have the insurance or whatever, so it covered him to a degree, but probably not to, it ended up being a life-altering decision for him, especially as far as longevity in the NFL goes, to play that extra game. So I think, watching something like that would definitely make me double, question it because it's the game of football. It's fierce. You can lose your career at any minute.
Some of these guys I remember Mike Rozier getting a big insurance policy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think some guys still do that. Maybe they could use that money for an insurance policy. If I get injured, at least, I'm insured for $10 million or whatever that is. If I get insured or if I get injured in one of these bowl games. I knew it was going to happen, but I guess now that it's happened, I'm stunned by it. I knew we were headed down this road. I could see it, And yet now I'm seeing it and I'm still amazed.
But it's also just continue. It will be fascinating to see how far it continues to fall if if they don't remedy the situation some way or another, because eventually you get to a point that if you're a Haskell, Garrett, or whatever, I mean, let's say Ohio State's 6-3, their season's done, then they might sit out the final 3 games before the bowl game just to protect their draft status, and that's going to be most
Didn't
teams.
Jadeveon Clowney do that for the entire season, or pretty much the entire season?
I think he thought about it.
Yeah,
I don't know if he did it.
I
but
think he did at least the bowl game or the last few games. I'm trying to remember back, but the precedent has been set, and I can't see it going back to where it used to be anytime soon. But maybe the carrot is money, name, image, and likeness. Who knows? Let's get to box tops. It's that time. It's going to be one of my favorite subjects here on Box Tops. Top 10 Vikings of all time. See if your list comes to agreement with mine.
Yeah. By the way, this is just my favorite. This isn't the best.
Yeah,
I like to have fun with some stories instead of just ranking them straight up. So guys that didn't make the list, and you tell me your thoughts on some of them. Chad Greenway, I always thought that was a great linebacker name. He ended up being pretty good.
He was a great linebacker. Yeah.
Harrison Smith, still on the team, right?
Yeah.
It seems like he's been there forever.
Yeah,
so sometimes I get lost there.
He would be in my top 10 defensive backs of all time.
Yeah, he's been great since he like rookie year. I mean, he's been
great hitter,
really good the whole time. Laquan Treadwell was actually drafted. He's still playing. I didn't realize that. I looked that up. He was drafted by the Vikings. Of course, he was the wide receiver that was likely headed to Lincoln, and then Mississippi got him out of nowhere. And then Bo like insinuated that there might have been some money at play in there.
Like money given to mom. I remember that whole thing. Yeah, that was when we knew the SEC was cheating, and it proved out to be the case.
Blair Walsh, you a big Blair Walsh fan?
I like Blair Walsh.
Yeah, he missed a big kick.
He missed a big kick that cost us a chance at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like it was like maybe a 30-yard kick against Seattle.
Some Vikings fans, even though Blair Walsh was one of the best field goal kickers in the league, that's a curse word. You shouldn't say that. Troy Walters, former Nebraska offensive coordinator, was drafted there. Mike Hughes, of course, former UCF defensive back, drafted there. Some of the more recent guys that are kind of fun to watch: Dalvin Cook, Stephon Diggs, of course. What happened with Stephon Diggs? Why did they? What happened with them in the Vikings?
He felt like Cousins didn't throw to him enough, and he was right.
Yeah.
He was really, really good. And he wanted to get the heck out of town. I just felt like Mike Zimmer has destroyed a few careers. And Stephon Diggs probably made the right decision. He's in Buffalo, and he's a big star.
Yeah. And I liked him coming out of college. I was excited because usually you just watch some conference players. You're like, I especially like that guy. And he got taken in the 5th round, so he wasn't expected to be great, but he was, of course, coming out of Maryland.
His brother might be a bigger star this year. He has 11 interceptions for the Cowboys.
Yeah. He's and a Pro Bowler now. Bryant McKinney was another fun offensive lineman. Cordero Patterson, one of my favorite kick returners. They're hoping more out of him as a wide receiver, as any team that's had Cordero Patterson probably has, but he's a great kick returner. All right, let's get to my top 10. Number 10 on my list, how about Fred Smoot? A lot of great memories of Fred Smoot and the Love Boat scandal for the Vikings. I had to throw it in there.
The Love Boat, yes, I remember that. That was so silly. But yeah, thanks for mentioning Fred Smoot.
I just like Fred Smoot, his career, even at Mississippi State, and then with the Redskins, where he was kind of played opposite Champ Bailey.
He had a better career. I mean, his biggest part of his career was with the Redskins.
Yeah, and then he came over to the Vikings and just had scandal, but it was still fun. Number 9 on my list, how about Brett Favre? That's a name at one point you would never expect to see on this list, but he nearly got the Vikings to the Super Bowl in 2009, was it?
Yep. All he had to do was run. He rolled out to the right. He throws across his body. It's picked off. New Orleans kicked the winning field goal. And because of that game, they changed the overtime rules. That was in overtime. And it ended the game. And now if you kick a field goal, the other team gets an opportunity to go for it or to get the ball and win the game. Because of that game, they changed the rules. But all Favre had to do, he had 5, maybe 10 yards. He runs, they kick the field goal, they're in the Super Bowl. And instead, New Orleans won it all that year.
And you probably had mixed feelings about him to begin with, but for it to end like that, is there continued mixed feelings for Brett Favre?
But he played so well that year.
Yeah, he was almost MVP.
He was incredible. And once you see what a Hall of Fame quarterback looks like in a Vikings uniform, you go, wait a minute. That's what they're getting with Green Bay all those years. That's what Aaron Rodgers is like.
Yeah.
And it's unfair. They replaced Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I know.
That's not fair.
They've been very spoiled over there. Number 8 on my list, how about Percy Harvin? 5 total kick return touchdowns with the Vikings. He's actually tied with Amir Abdullah when Amir was with the Lions for the longest non-scoring play in NFL history. 104 yards for each of them, where they took it out of the end zone and got to the 1 or whatever and didn't quite get the touchdown. But Percy Harvin, probably more expected of him in his career, but what a fun player coming out of Florida in his first couple of years with the Vikings. A special teams demon.
Played for Urban Meyer at Florida, part of that scandal a little bit when Urban was at Florida. Great kick returner, freak of nature athlete. You mentioned Cordell Patterson. He reminds me a little bit of that, returning kicks.
Yeah, he was fun. Number 7 on my list, John Randall, a 6-time All-Pro. I mean, this guy was just eating up quarterbacks in the 90s. 15 and a half sacks. He was the NFL leader in 1997. Also has the Vikings record. He led the Minnesota Vikings for 8 straight seasons in sacks. That guy was a beast.
He was an absolute machine. He was a quarterback terror.
Yeah.
He was a terror.
And he just kind of looked daunting. He always had his face paint on. He was cool.
I told you he's a great guy too. I wish I would have met him. I mean, he was one of my all-time favorite Vikings.
Yeah, without a doubt. Number 5 on my list, a guy who ended his career a little bit early there, Robert Smith. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler as a running back in 1998 and 2000, but he retired at the age of 28 or 29, or somewhere around there. He actually holds the all-time NFL record for average yards per touchdown run at 27.2. So he could burn you.
And he was on some of those great teams with Randall Cunningham and Chris Carter and Randy Moss. That 1998 team should have won the Super Bowl, but you're right. He retired way too early. The guy was maybe the fastest player in the NFL at the time.
I always go back and forth on that sort of thing, Barry. But he did it this wasn't because of injuries. This was before injuries. He made his money and he wanted to live a healthy life. I can't blame him for it.
And he was in the broadcast booth for a long time.
Oh, he still is. He's a great broadcaster. Number 4 on my list. How about Jared Allen? Of course, he made his name known with Kansas City and Oakland, some of those teams, but a lot of time with the Vikings. Talk about a premier pass rusher that you wouldn't want to run into in an alley.
Big motor, they used to always say about Jared Allen. John Randall was more talented, but Jared Allen maybe had a better motor than anybody I've ever seen play in a Vikings uniform.
Number 3 on my list, you mentioned him, Dante Culpepper. Of course, Nebraska fans will remember playing UCF in Culpepper with Frost in 1997. Of course, he went on to have a great career in the NFL, at least for the Vikings, before he went over to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Nick Saban's biggest regret probably is getting Culpepper. He chose Culpepper basically over Breeze in Miami to get his thing going, and that didn't work, obviously. But Culpepper was great with the Vikings, 3-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro in 2000, led the league in passing in 2004.
At one time, I thought, that guy's the best quarterback ever. And then I realized once he left the Vikings, it's because he was throwing to Chris Carter and Randy Moss all the time.
Yeah, that helps.
And Robert Smith was running the football for him. I mean, he had so many great weapons. But he was good. He had a big arm. Remember, UCF played in Lincoln one year. I remember him playing for Central Florida. Against Nebraska and Lincoln.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention, he's not on my list because I didn't put him in there, but Randall Cunningham, right before Culpepper, there was that year, 1998, he threw for 34 touchdowns to 10 picks. He just went off in 1998. Didn't really have any success after that, but he was fun for that one year, and maybe that was more of what you were saying too. Obviously, Cunningham was great before that. This was toward the latter half of his career, but maybe it's just kind of the weaponry he had there, but that was awesome.
They were loaded offensively at that time.
Yeah,
Loaded.
and those are they're going to take my top 2 spots. Chris Carter, you mentioned guys in the booth. He's one of my favorite guys in the booth, but him and Randy Moss are the top spots on my list here because they were just such a dynamic duo for whoever was slinging the football for them. And I felt like that was that late 90s. I don't know how you feel. That was the coolest Vikings teams. Those were the coolest time to be a Vikings fan, I would say.
Well, I was a Vikings fan when they dominated the North back in the 70s. They would win the division every year, and then they would always face, somebody like the Rams and get beat in the NFC playoffs, or they would face somebody like the Dolphins, one of the greatest teams ever, undefeated Dolphins, or the Steelers, or the Raiders. They were facing the best teams ever.
Yeah.
Every time they went to the Super Bowl. So I was a big fan of the 70s Vikings, but that 98 team should have won it all. All they had to do is make a field goal against the Falcons.
Yeah, the Dirty Birds.
Gary Anderson hadn't missed one all year. Hadn't missed a field goal all year. He makes that. They go to the Super Bowl and probably win it. But that's some fun memories. All of your memories, you have more of the 90s memories, and that's great. I
that's
think
when I was alive.
more to the 70s and 80s. But let's see. Are there some names that you probably should have put on?
I know you love Fran Tarkenton. That's your favorite player.
Fran Tarkenton's my favorite. Chuck Foreman should be on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Chris Dolman, great linebacker. John Gilliam, wide receiver, big fan. Tommy Kramer replaced Fran Tarkenton. And I really, really liked him. He played on some really bad teams, though, with the Vikings. Jim Marshall, Carl Eller. I mean, the fearsome force: Larson, Eller, Page, Marshall. Those were some great memories for sure. Thanks for doing that. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate.
It's fun to celebrate your favorite team, but it's kind of weird because, and I don't mean this in a rude way. I realize I said this too, and you and Schaefer are both Vikings fans. Vikings fans kind of seem
negative.
Not negative, but almost just like
resigned.
I would say
resigned to the fact
not
that
just for this season, but they're just there seems to be a little bit of a curse there.
There is, and at least we were in the same boat for a long time with Bronco fans. Like they had lost 4, we had lost 4.
Oh yeah,
we feel bad for you. And the Bills are still there. The Bills still haven't won
4 straight.
Yeah, and the Vikings have lost 4. The Bills have lost 4. So I guess we have that in common. But it feels like they've just lost some heartbreakers. But that's what a Vikings fan. That's what being a Vikings fan is.
They were the purple people eater defense in the 70s, right?
Right.
Was that kind of what helped bring you to the Vikings, or how did you become a Vikings fan?
They would always play. You get the local teams. So you'd either get the Bears, the Vikings, the Broncos, or the Packers, always on Sunday. So they were the local team. And Vin Scully would call them with Jim Brown back in the day. And I saw Fran Tarkenton just running for his life, and nobody could ever tackle him. And he would dump it off to Chuck Foreman for a 40-yard gain. I go, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Didn't have a big arm, but he was a scrambler and fun to watch. And so they were on every week. That was part of it.
Yeah, it always helps.
So I just gravitated to him. And that was probably when I was 6. That's my rule.
That's
Pick a team when you're 6 and stick with them for the rest of your life. And I have. Let's get to break. Come back with more on Tom and Bock.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Allo knows businesses need reliable communication, both at the office and at home. Now more than ever. Just listen to Bill Mitchner from Lighthouse.
Before we'd have breaks in service, especially for internet, but we've never had any issues with Allo. It's always been there and available when we needed it.
At Allo, supporting your business is our business. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685 today.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
Guys, we need to talk about a problem plaguing our society today: chronic fruitcake slander. Now, maybe you're thinking, I've had fruitcake. It's dry and heavy. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're eating the wrong fruitcake, because Grandma's fruitcake is anything but. Their recipe uses the highest quality fruits, hand-sorted nuts, and adds the perfect amount of brandy, bourbon, and rum. Their desserts are known and loved across the country, and they're made right here in Southeast Nebraska. If you haven't tried them yet, you're missing out. Grandma's Fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of yum.
Brokers Insurance Agency is currently hiring full-time and part-time insurance professionals. They will provide you with the training and education to obtain your insurance licenses. Brokers Insurance Agency takes pride in educating clients with the best insurance program to help their clients meet their specific goals. If you're a hardworking, motivated person and would like to discuss a great career opportunity with Brokers Insurance Agency, please call Ken Richards at 402-420-5353 or email service@brokersinsuranceagencyne.com. The team at Brokers Insurance Agency is looking forward to helping you get started with your insurance career.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa. If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
One-on-one with DP.
What's been the difference?
I think it's a system that I formed for myself. And it didn't start here. Like we've talked about my history. You know, I've played with Michael Porter and Trey Young, and I've played with these guys, you know, and I started playing basketball when I was 8th grade, and I was the tallest dude, and I've just accepted it. I've learned to be okay with it, and I've just made it work for me.
Weekdays from 3 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, Tom and Bock. It's the noon hour. Time to get hungry. I'm very hungry right now. Thinking about lunch.
Did you eat breakfast?
No, I never eat breakfast anymore.
Yeah. It's the most important meal of the day.
It is, they say. I usually eat a handful of almonds. I've got almonds in my desk.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I usually eat. And I know that I haven't eaten that many. I know Sipple's been into them. So, but that's okay. I invite Sipple to have as many almonds as he wants.
I feel like if you eat a small breakfast, and they say to eat a big breakfast sometimes, but then your stomach doesn't expand enough that when you're hungry later, it's not. I don't know if there's any science behind it, but I feel like you're not as hungry if you eat a smaller breakfast later.
I think that's true. Keto's a big, if you could space it out, got to go to bed at, 10 o'clock at night and try not to eat till like noon the next day.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you can really lose some weight.
Don't eat before bed and don't eat when you wake up, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But it's really tough to do sometimes. I've got to at least have a handful of almonds to get me through. But right now is where I'm starting to feel the hunger pangs. Mention the Vikings in 1978 losing to the Cowboys. Actually, the term Hail Mary, that's where it came from that game, 1979 or 75, I should say. The Vikings were winning that game, and Staubach just heaves it down there. Paul Krause is pushed out. Drew Pearson is the receiver for the Cowboys. He pushes off on Paul Krause. It's not called. He catches the ball. They win the game. Staubach later told reporters he was knocked down in the play, closed his eyes, and said a Hail Mary, and that's where the term came from. They went on to beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl. The Vikings would have won the Super Bowl that day because Craig Morton, who was playing quarterback for the Broncos, was like 85 years old, and the Cowboys just killed the Broncos. That's the one where I thought they finally would have won a Super Bowl, but the Cowboys cheated. That's what they do. You said some news coming out of Memorial Stadium from Trev Alberts?
Yeah, Mitch Sherman, of course, of The Athletic. We have him on every, what is it, Fridays?
Every Thursday. He'll
Every
be on
Thursday.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
sorry,
say,
today's Tuesday. He'll be on Thursday.
yeah, it's hard to remember days. Anyways, he tweeted out, Nebraska AD Trev Alberts says the school has surpassed its $100 billion goal for privately raised funds to complete the North Stadium expansion project in one phase. The cost of the complex has grown by $10 million to $165 million to account for inflationary costs scheduled to open in 2023. So just one after next season, it'll be there.
I wonder how big
When?
of an advantage that will be in recruiting for Nebraska.
I don't know.
We thought it would be a big deal, but I'm wondering if name, image, and likenesses kind of surpassed facilities.
Maybe it has, and maybe that, maybe we'll look back at it and say that the numbers would say that, and that maybe they should have, if they're raising that amount of money, maybe it should go toward the players, right? But that's going to be phenomenal. I mean, it's going to be really cool if you look at the design for it. It's going to be, kind of, at least from what I've seen, pretty much one of a kind. I mean, you're going to feel like football is huge at Nebraska, and we already know it is. But I mean, when you talk about getting a kid to campus, they're going to be blown away by that compared to, I think, a lot of the other schools. And again, it's after 15 years, maybe not. Maybe you have to do something again.
Probably.
But that's kind of the deal in as far as the buildings and the supporting buildings that you put up for football, and like you said, the facilities they need updated every once in a while. This is a huge update that'll be really, really cool. I can't wait for it. But I could also see it like you're saying. Maybe instead of that, give Texas is finding a way to give $50,000 away to their offensive linemen.
I'm sure
maybe that would help a little more.
Nebraska will be involved in that, and their name, image, and likeness fund is not $100 million or whatever Texas is, or $10 million.
10 million.
You said $10 million. But it'll be. I think Sean Callahan told us like $6 million.
Yeah,
it's up to like $6 million, something like that. So Nebraska is playing the game as well, and they're playing the facilities games. You probably need all of that. I'm glad that Nebraska is making this available to all student athletes. It's not just a football thing. It's available to all student athletes. At least sections of the new complex will be. Maybe not all of it. There'll be football areas for sure.
And they're doing a new weight room, right? So what happens in Dominican Sue's weight room?
I don't know. Maybe he puts it in his house or something like that. Maybe he moves it over. maybe he'll move his house to Memorial Stadium.
That's a big deal. He gave a lot of money right away. I mean, he got that big rookie contract after being drafted. And
I'm guessing the equipment won't go to waste.
I'm not saying the equipment. I'm just saying the naming rights. I hope that they continue. The next weight room, it just shifted over. Now it's a new Indomitian Zoo weight room, but I don't know if his money's, if somebody else's money is going into that they might want to name it something different.
Remember the whole thing where he wanted a Nike store on campus, and Sean Eichhorst was, we're not doing that. We're not Nike, and we're not going to do that. I think that bothered Sue a little bit, but he's back in. I think he's in.
Yeah.
The Big Ten on Tuesday updated its COVID forfeiture policy for the remainder of the 2021-22 athletics season across all sports. The changes bring the league in line with every other power conference in the country. Of course, they never seem to be leaders. They always seem to wait, does the Big Ten. But they moved away from the automatic forfeits, which is a good idea, right, Bock? Instead of an automatic forfeit, the Big Ten will attempt to reschedule games or declare a game a no contest if one or both teams are unable to participate due to a shortage of players. You weren't going to get the credit with the ends, with like Ken Palm wasn't going to give you a win and calculate that in anyway. You were going to get the win, and it meant nothing.
Yeah, that's all it should have.
Yeah, it should have been that way, but I'm glad they're going this way. You don't have to forfeit.
Yeah, we don't have to do a bunch of useless math of trying to figure out who's got wins that they didn't earn, losses that they shouldn't be counted against them. And just especially where we are right now. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, I just saw Carson Wentz just put on the COVID list. It's just, every 20 minutes. Seriously, we've made jokes about this, but we could update you every 20 minutes, every segment with who's got COVID now. So it's just completely it's hard to predict. It's obviously spreading pretty quickly right now, and it's going to impact these games. Don't let it impact the standings. I love that everybody has kind of come to that conclusion.
Right. And there's also rules. I know the ACC that if you are vaccinated, then they're going to a 6-day window rather than the 10-day window to try to get some of these games in. I'm sure the Big Ten will fall in line with that and has. It would be nice if we just had a czar of college sports
Right?
to just say,
A leader.
then we don't have to update all the standards and all the rules for every Power 5 league. And where are they compared to the ACC? And where are they compared to the SEC? Just get a czar that makes all these calls, and we read one notice every time. We don't have to read all the different memos from all the different leagues.
Yeah. Well, they kind of have the closest thing to a czar is the NCAA, and everybody hates them. So I don't know how it would work, but it does. I mean, it's great when in the pro leagues when you have a commissioner, and he doesn't have all the power. He's a collection of all the owners bickering away, but if they come to a conclusion and you find you just have one voice for the league. They definitely need that, and I think more than anything, COVID showed you that the conference commissioners and the conferences and the schools jumping conferences, none of these people are on the same page. It's all kind of just fighting out for your own best interests among this giant kind of league that they have.
Obviously, the college football playoff is starting this Friday. Friday afternoon is the first game, I think, at 2:30. That is the Georgia-Michigan game, right? Is that the first game, or is it Alabama? No, Alabama-Cincinnati is the first game, a 2:30 game from the Cotton Bowl. Alabama, 13.5-point favorite. I guess that's not a big surprise. And they're coming off a 41-21 win, their best performance of the year against a Georgia defense that we all thought was historically great. It feels like Alabama's in. I mean, and maybe Cincinnati can do something heroic and pull it off. The other one I'm not so sure about. Georgia versus Michigan feels like more of a toss-up, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the better game of your semifinal games. But I mean, if Cincinnati keeps it even close to Alabama, you can change your tune pretty quickly. I understand the spread's a little bit higher, but that's the game everybody has been waiting for and complaining about within a 4-team playoff structure, is that one of the non-Power 5 teams will never get in. Well, it's happened, and Cincinnati has a chance to do an all-time upset. And, of course, the number 1 seed couldn't be any more of a power than Alabama. So that game's going to be really intriguing. I think it's going to be fun. Usually these semifinal games aren't, so maybe it won't be. But certainly if Cincinnati can keep that close. But you're right, Georgia, Michigan, it's kind of weird that neither of those programs have necessarily a dominating quarterback. And that's what I worry about when they play Alabama. If I'm Georgia, I'd even consider JT Daniels over Stetson Bennett if you play Alabama again. We saw what Bennett does, but he does give you a little bit more as far as wheels go. So, he can kind of get out of some situations if Will Anderson or one of those guys is breathing heavy on him. But it's just kind of sad because we were this close to not having Alabama in. I don't know if we all believed Alabama isn't one of the best teams, but now that they're in it, it's hard to bet against them in this playoff. Just because of the quarterback advantage they have.
They got the matchup. They've got the best quarterback in Bryce Young, the Heisman winner. Michigan and Georgia Friday. It feels like, and there's been a lot of talk about Michigan's offensive line versus Georgia's defensive line. Georgia ranks 3rd in the country in rush defense, and that's kind of what Michigan does. They're 10th in rush offense. So both teams have made no bones about it. Michigan said, hey, we're going to run. This is what we do. It looks like Blake Corum is 100% ready. Haskins is also good. They've found their groove, and it feels like they can match up physically with Georgia, mostly because of what you said. Georgia doesn't have a quarterback that scares you. If they had a Bryce Young, I would say they would win going away against Michigan, but they don't. Stetson Bennett doesn't scare me.
Yeah, and they do have one player in George Pickens who got hurt, a wide receiver, was considering sitting out for the rest of the year and just going to the pros. I mean, that's how good he is. Yeah. But he did come back playing in the last few games and caught a big catch against Alabama. If you watch that game, the SEC championship game, you'd hear the commentators keep saying, why don't they try Pickens again? That seems to be their equalizer. And now that he's had more time to get healthy, maybe they will. And that could be the difference in a rematch. But as far as the Georgia-Michigan games goes, first Georgia has to get through Michigan. Michigan's defense has an argument to be the better defense in that game. Again, I know Georgia's has those numbers that are historic, especially going up into that Alabama game. But, with Ojabo and Hutchinson and Hill in the back end, I mean, they've got a heck of a defense there. And I can't wait mostly just because I'd love, we all want to avoid the SEC championship game, but this is the year we've kind of been waiting for. If you're a Big Ten fan, is somebody besides Ohio State to step up and become a big time player. Of course, the college football playoff is one thing, and Michigan State's been there. But if Michigan can get to the championship game and maybe win or give Alabama a run for their money, likely Alabama, that puts them on a whole new, a whole new category basically to compete with Ohio State in the future. And I've got to believe the NIL money will be flowing into Ann Arbor pretty well.
It feels like your kind of game, Bock. 3 versus 2, two games that love to play, two teams that love to play defense, a lot of ground and pound. That just feels like a Bock game. I'm surprised that Georgia is a 7.5 point favorite. That feels like a little much. I really think Michigan can win that game and might. Alabama, 13.5 point favorite. The 2:30 game. So that's the 2:30 game on ESPN, 1 versus 4. Cincinnati's going to have to play perfect, I think, to win that game. And then the late game, the 6:30 game on ESPN. This is going to be fun. Friday night. Friday night watching New Year's Eve. I mean, I'm not going out, even if I might not till the games are over for sure. If the games are over, maybe I'll go out and check out something. But it's as my dad used to say, it's amateur night anyway. I'm not a big New Year's Eve guy. My buddy's band plays and they're really good. Hell to Pay, get it?
Toupee.
Yeah. They played at our wedding. So I kind of want to see them. I think they're playing at Rosie's on New Year's Eve, but I'm going to make sure the games are all over before I head out for sure. If I do head out.
Yeah, as usual, football is more important than holidays.
Absolutely.
As we know. So if there's football on the same day of holidays.
It is my holiday.
That's right.
Let's get to break. Come back with the wingmen. Bock, did you get a question today? You got
I've got a question ready.
Husker trivia question. I'll be your wingman. 464-5685. Call the Honda of Lincoln hotline. It's Husker Trivia Tuesday is what it is. And we'll do it coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Decreasing cloud cover today will reach a high of 44, but temperatures fall this afternoon behind a strong cold front, which will also bring north winds gusting over 25. Partly cloudy tonight with low dropping down to 14. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow, a chance at some light snow, and only a high of 29. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I mean, so many things you turn on now. You say it ain't so. Miami's not playing in the Sun Bowl.
Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so. Whoa, whoa. Sorry about that, Lincoln. And everybody.
Pro Bowl here today, so you never know.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Brokers Insurance Agency is currently hiring full-time and part-time insurance professionals. They will provide you with the training and education to obtain your insurance licenses. Brokers Insurance Agency takes pride in educating clients with the best insurance program to help their clients meet their specific goals. If you're a hard-working, motivated person and would like to discuss a great career opportunity with Brokers Insurance Agency, please call Ken Richards at 402-420-5353 or email service@brokersinsuranceagencyne.com. The team at Brokers Insurance Agency is looking forward to helping you get started started with your insurance career.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Parents, if you've been waiting for FDA approval to get your teen vaccinated, the time is now. The FDA has approved the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for use in preventing COVID-19. While this is the first vaccine to gain FDA approval, all COVID-19 vaccines have been proven to be effective against the coronavirus. Want to reduce your teen's risk of hospitalization while protecting yourself and your community? Get your teen vaccinated today. Visit vaccinate.ne.gov to get started.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I mean, so many things you turn on now, you say it ain't so. Miami's not playing in the Sun Bowl.
Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so. Whoa, whoa. Sorry about that, Lincoln.
Might
and everybody.
Pro Bowl here today, so you never know.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Guys, we need to talk about a problem plaguing our society today: chronic fruitcake slander. Now, maybe you're thinking, I've had fruitcake. It's dry and heavy. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're eating the wrong fruitcake, because Grandma's fruitcake is anything but. Their recipe uses the highest quality fruits, hand-sorted nuts, and adds the perfect amount of brandy, bourbon, and rum. Their desserts are known and loved across the country, and they're made right here in Southeast Nebraska. If you haven't tried them yet, you're missing out. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of yum.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline with $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings so you can go get chickens. Yardbird. All right, it's Tuesday, so it's Husker Trivia Tuesday. Not every Tuesday do we do Husker Trivia, but today we felt like it. Bock's got a trivia question, so here it is.
Well, we were talking about a certain bowl earlier, so we'll have a question about that bowl. What year did Nebraska play in their first bowl game? It was the Rose Bowl. They've played in it twice. Their first, obviously, the national championship game against Miami, they lost in 2001. What year did they play in their first Rose Bowl, which was their first bowl game altogether?
What year did Nebraska play in their first Rose Bowl? Were they in like the Missouri Valley at that time? They probably were in the Missouri Valley.
Let me see. Big Six champions.
Big Six champions. 464-5685. If you know the year that Nebraska played their first Rose Bowl. And then they weren't allowed to play in the Rose Bowl for a long time because they were in the Big 8 and the Big 12. And there was always an Orange Bowl connection. And I'm like you. I would love to have that. I loved the Orange Bowl. I just now you never know where you're going to go. If you know, I guess you're going to go to the Rose Bowl if you win the league, but
not really. Like I was saying earlier, now usually the Big Ten champions in the playoff and the runner-up.
Yeah,
gets to go
that's
to the
true.
Rose Bowl.
I mean, yeah, I guess you're runner-up if you make the Big Ten championship. Unlike this year, Ohio State won, didn't win it because they lost to Michigan, and Michigan now is in the playoff. You're right. 464-5685. Let's go to Houston. We don't have a problem. Hi, Houston. How are you?
I'm doing well, but I'll tell you what, we do have a problem. I mean, I'm going to miss you, Tom. I appreciate all the work you've done over the years.
Well, thank you.
A pleasure watching you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just listening to you, not watching.
You can do both because we're on the computer. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere.
On the internet.
We're on the internet.
Sure.
Do you know the answer to the question, or do you need my help? I think I know the answer.
I could use a little bit of help. I have an idea.
I think it was it 1931 that Nebraska played. I think they played Stanford in the Rose Bowl and they lost. I think I'm going to go with that. What are you going to agree with me, or are you going to say no?
I was thinking 41.
Was it
41? I'm
41?
pretty sure it has a 1.
Is it 41 or 31, Bock?
I'm going to go with 41.
Easton's going with 41 against Tom's judgment. He wins. Good choice, Houston. Good choice.
All right. Nice. Way to go
Sorry.
against the.
I trust you, Tom, just not today.
Okay. There you go. I was dead wrong. I was thinking it was 31, but it was 41.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't obviously though. After all those years,
That was,
it's hard to remember.
It was about 24 or 5 years before I was born.
Oh, okay.
So I don't remember that one. Do you remember any details about that game?
I just thought they lost to Stanford.
What was the score?
I can look it up right now. 21-13.
21-13.
Stanford was actually number 2 in the nation, so that was a good Stanford team. Nebraska's coach for that game was named Biff Jones.
Biff Jones. What do you have any more details to what was their record that year?
Nebraska was 8-1 going into that game. They'd lost to Minnesota, and Minnesota did not play in a bowl game that year. Of course, this was like World War II era, so I think several teams opted out. I can't remember exactly. There was a situation in which Nebraska got in, I think partially because of the war. I have to go back and remember and look it up.
They got in because of the war. That would make sense. And I mean, now you're getting in because some games because of COVID. And now back then you were getting in because of the war. I wonder how many guys, like there were a lot of guys that obviously didn't play college football because they were, fighting in a world war. Incredible. Yeah.
And Stanford at the time was actually the Stanford Indians. So they must have switched out at some point along the time, long before the Guardians, the Cleveland
and
Indians.
It's not the Cardinals, like the Louisville Cardinals, right? It's the Cardinal.
The Cardinal. And of course their mascot is a tree.
It makes no sense.
It just makes that for such a good school as far as academics go, they don't seem to have an idea of what to do with their mascots.
Yeah, I bet I know a guy who can explain some of the Stanford history to us. John Baylor will be on the show, I believe, on Friday or Thursday. We're not going to be here Friday. He'll be here Thursday. We'll talk a little Husker volleyball with John Baylor, good golfing buddy of mine. Of course, the voice of Husker volleyball. And he went to Stanford. So he knows all about Stanford trivia, I'm sure.
I did not realize he went to Stanford. I've never heard that.
He's a bright guy. He's really smart.
Yeah. You have to be.
I guess you kind of have to be to go to Stanford.
Yeah.
Unless your family has a lot of money, and I think his did. But I think he got in on his academics and not the other stuff. Let's get the break. Come back with more. It is Tom and Bock.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt U.S. Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Do you know the signs of an opioid overdose? Talk to your physician and pharmacist about naloxone, a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Be Opie ready and download a free overdose support tool, the Opie Rescue app. Search Opie Ready for more information.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Brokers Insurance Agency is currently hiring full-time and part-time insurance professionals. They will provide you with the training and education to obtain your insurance licenses. Brokers Insurance Agency takes pride in educating clients with the best insurance program to help their clients meet their specific goals. If you're a hardworking, motivated person and would like to discuss a great career opportunity with Brokers Insurance Agency, please call Ken Richards at 402-420-5353 or email service@brokersinsuranceagencyne.com. The team at Brokers Insurance Agency is looking forward to helping you get started with your insurance career.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal, Vic Fangio met the media via Zoom Monday and acknowledged the possibility that his future as Broncos head coach may be in doubt, but said he's not thinking about that right now.
We're going to do everything we can to win this next game. I'm not worried about do I have to win the next two to secure the job. That's totally not in my frame of thought right now. And we're going to do anything and everything we can to win this game this week.
Left tackle Garrett Bowles also spoke via Zoom and shares the disappointments of Broncos country.
It's frustrating for me. But the crazy thing is that we have a very, very talented team. We have so many playmakers and so many guys that want to win around here. So it's just frustrating, man.
Fangio also gave an update on quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, who remains in concussion protocol, and said, really, there is no update. The Broncos at 7-8 head to Los Angeles Sunday to face off with the Chargers.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
Parents, if you've been waiting for FDA approval to get your teen vaccinated, the time is now. The FDA has approved the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for use in preventing COVID-19. While this is the first vaccine to gain FDA approval, all COVID-19 vaccines have been proven to be effective against the coronavirus. Want to reduce your teen's risk of hospitalization while protecting yourself and your community? Get your teen vaccinated today. Visit vaccinate.ne.gov to get started.
If you're talking, they will hear you. Every single time.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Sponsored by SAMHSA and Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
I'm not commenting on that until I'm ready to comment on it.
Jake Bockoven.
You watch the game. You figure it out, huh? What do you think?
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 3 of Tom and Bock. Tom Stevens here, Jake Bockoven there. Nick and Rico will join us in about 50 minutes from now. Nick has to come in every day and remind us that the Bulls are good.
They are.
DeMar DeRozan is really good. Zach LaVine's really good. Lonzo Ball's really good. They're good.
They put together quite a team there.
They're a solid team. Not a team that could win it all, but they're a team that could maybe get to round 2 of the playoffs.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of, remember when the Celtics had, obviously Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were there, but they also had Al Horford and Kyrie Irving. Right. Everybody thought that team was going to be great. And I always thought, I just don't know if they have a number one or those guys are all pretty good. And that's where I think the Bulls are. And DeRozan might be taking that step, but I think they have a bunch of really good number 2s and 3s that they put together on a team, and it's working for now, but I don't think it's championship.
No, I don't think it's a championship level team, but they are very good. Last night, if you were watching the NFL, you saw a team in Miami that has now won 7 in a row. Miami, the Dolphins, Jake's team, started 1-7. Now they've won 7 in a row. No team in the history of the NFL has ever done that.
I wouldn't think so. That's ridiculous.
That is a little ridiculous. If you're wondering, has anybody ever done that? No, they haven't. That's the first time ever that has been done. Ian Book, though, in fairness, New Orleans had a bunch of dudes out. They were down to their very last offensive tackles. And Ian Book made the start. He was sacked 8 times last night in the Dolphins' 20-3 win. He also threw 2 picks. It was really unfair to him because they were missing just tons of dudes. But hand it to Miami. They've now won 7 in a row. Jalen Waddle, 7 catches for 92. Tua, very nice. In fact, he leads the NFL in completion percentage. He was 19 of 26, 198. Not anything great, but very solid. But now they play the Titans and the Patriots to end the season. It doesn't look like they're going to go anywhere. I mean, they teased Jake, and they teased a lot of Miami fans. But Brian Flores, maybe he's coach of the year. Who knows? But I just don't think they're gonna win those last 2 games. During that 7-game run, they beat the Jets twice. They beat the Texans. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Giants. They beat the Ravens, who were very injured at that time. And they beat New Orleans with Ian Book. And now they have to play the Titans next week and the Patriots next. I'm sorry, Jake, but it still looks like your Dolphins are not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's weird that they've won 7 in a row, and you still look at them and go, I don't think they're very good. And they're solid. And what Jake's been arguing with us the whole time is you would think, well, maybe it'd just be good if they didn't do well and then got a high draft pick, but they traded away their draft pick rights for next year. So that wouldn't help them at all. One thing they have done and is found is Jalen Waddle. I mean, that guy, I think he's going to break the rookie record for receptions. And they've been working on Devontae Parker for 6 or 7 years. It seems like, to be that number 1 receiver, and he's still there and he's fine. But but he's not what Jalen Waddle. They're different.
Is Tua good? Are you willing to say that Tua is now good?
No.
He's okay.
He's all right. He's efficient. He's been that. But I don't know, as far as like leading your franchise in the future, he wouldn't be probably among my top 20 picks in the NFL quarterbacks. Probably not.
In fairness to him, he does have a bad offensive line still.
Yeah, really bad last night, which they were missing some pieces.
Right. And I do like the fact that Jalen Waddle, as you mentioned, great young receiver in his rookie year, has a waddle. I mean, his touchdown celebration is the waddle. He waddles around a lot during games, especially when he scores a touchdown. So that's very cool. But the Dolphins, sorry, Jake. I mean, I always have to debate this. And it's not even a debate. Your team is just not that good.
Who would you take right now in the game, Dolphins or Vikings?
Oh, well, the Vikings are always in 1-score games, so you have to equate that.
Yeah.
I would probably take the Dolphins. But I'd probably
be a close one, though.
I mean, I'd take probably anybody over the Vikings right now. They got beat by the Lions. The Lions hadn't won a game until they beat the Vikings.
The Cardinals got beat by the Lions too. That doesn't mean they're
Vikings
awful,
should have beat the Cardinals.
That's right.
The thing that the Vikings have proven is that they can play with anyone, but they'll probably still lose. They'll probably still lose. And that's what, I mean, you were describing the Vikings fan. That's what we are. We're just very cynical.
Yeah.
We're a little beaten down, I think, over time. You got to show me. Kind of like Nebraska men's basketball right now, who returns to action Sunday. They'll hopefully play Ohio State. Ohio State, though, announced yesterday that today's game with New Orleans has been paused or canceled. Their program has been on pause since December 19th. Chris Holtmann, their head coach, says they still plan to play at PBA on Sunday versus Nebraska. However, several Big Ten teams have had to cancel games. Penn State, like Ohio State, has been on pause since December 11th. They've had 2 games canceled. They're scheduled to play tomorrow, so we'll see if that happens for Penn State. Wisconsin has had a game canceled since they had a game canceled December 23rd with George Mason. They're scheduled to play Illinois State tomorrow, so we'll see if that happens. Illinois canceled their game with Florida A&M due to COVID issues. And so we'll see. Nebraska went through that whole thing, 15 games in 33 days last year. I don't see that happening. But it does make you wonder if we're going to get this. I think they're going to get the college basketball season in, because they did last year and it was worse last year.
Oh boy, it's hard to predict something, 2 months, 3 months ahead right now. But I think they will. I mean, there seems to be a lot more flexibility to it. It's more rescheduling than canceling. Though, if they add up too much, maybe you will. And then you just, again, it's just where you are. I mean, if you have teams playing different amounts of games or whatever, just factor it in, especially in college basketball. Yeah. I've said, everybody's going to get, any good team will get their shot at the championship because that's how the tournament provides. Any, 64 teams, 68 teams, whatever it is now, are going to get a shot. So if some of them play one or two less games, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
This is one of those years that maybe you focus more on women's sports. I mean, we do anyway on this. And we talk about volleyball. We talk a little women's basketball. But the women's sports are far better than the men's sports right now, at least in the big sports. Maybe baseball, you could make the argument. Nebraska baseball has done well.
Oh, yeah.
But Nebraska basketball at this point is in the NCAA tournament. They play Michigan State this Thursday. That game's going to be picked up on BTN. Start time has been moved from 1 to 2 o'clock to accommodate the live broadcast window. But Amy Williams and her team now 12-0. They're fun to watch. They play together. There's good chemistry. They have stuff that you maybe wish was on the men's side right now. But they've done it similar to Fred Hoiberg with transfers and some homegrown girls, girls out of high school as well. But this is a team that's really, really good. And it's not one particular player. You could point to Jazz Shelley, who's really good. But outside of that, and Sam Hybe has not had her best year so far as a Husker. This is just a team that plays well together. And as of this moment, will be in the NCAA tournament. You think back to Nebraska women's basketball, they've been better than the men for quite a while. I think back to some of those kind of Yori teams, won a number 1 seed. So Nebraska women's basketball has the facilities. It feels like they've got the coach and they've got the roster right now to, who knows, make a run in the NCAA tournament, at least a Sweet 16 type team.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's still I know it's.
You haven't played anybody. I get that.
That's the deal.
They haven't played anybody, and Michigan State will show you something about how good Nebraska is on Thursday.
I mean, because that's what's been holding them back, and that's why. I mean, we all complain about them not being in the top 25. But that's kind of where you're at. Is 12-0 looks good now. Of course it does. But there are other teams that are Michigan's 11-1, Indiana's 10-2. There's other programs in the Big Ten that have compiled some pretty good non-con schedules. Nebraska now getting into it. You're done with all that. Now you play just conference games moving forward, so you can get the respect. You're going to play a few top 10 teams that are ranked at least right now. Maryland, Illinois, Indiana down the line here, Michigan. So they're going to get a chance to show that they belong. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze, but in the top 25.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, it's coming on.
Sometimes it's better just to let it out, Bob.
I blocked it that time, but yeah, I mean, I can't wait because it's Michigan. Michigan's the big one. Michigan State, they do have in front of them solid team, 7-6, whatever. But and hopefully they win that one to prepare for their game on the 4th on BTN against top 10 Michigan. You've been waiting for Nebraska to get the respect. That's where they can earn it.
Yeah, Michigan is really good.
Oh yeah,
they're very good. So that would be a great win if you could pull that off. In fact, if Nebraska could win maybe just a couple of games, because they're starting the Big Ten schedule with some tough teams. It's not going to be easy. This 12-0 team is really a solid team, but we'll find out a lot more. And starting on Thursday when they play Michigan State.
Yeah, just looking at the schedule real quick. Michigan State, like you said there, and then 4 straight games against top 25 opponents. 2 of them against the same team, and Iowa's number 21. But still, again, that's where you're going to be shown whether this team belongs in the top 25 discussion. I mean, certainly the discussion, but right up there where we want them to be. And it's interesting because they've taken off, but. Like you said, it hasn't been the kind of Yori program that we remember. Amy Williams has struggled to get this team to this point. Now they're there. Hopefully they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, this is year 6, is it? So this is a big year for Amy Williams. She needs to make the NCAA tournament, and I think they're on track, certainly a bit 12-0. They're off to a good start. The transfer portal is where Nebraska is looking for a quarterback, and we always visualize what the transfer portal is like. I think this is how it sounds when guys go in.
Welcome to the transfer portal.
And that's what happens. Yes. Some lady or guy will tell you, welcome to the transfer portal. And the doors eventually open and you get out, and that's where your school Yeah, well, that's where you're going to school.
Or unless you're like Jake Hainer, you just get scared as soon as you just run back out.
That's right.
You choose to go back.
There's a button that you can push after you get in the portal that can stop the portal.
Yeah, it's too scary for some people.
You can't handle it. It's like a ride at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So Nebraska's looking around. Evan Bland wrote a column about what's left in the portal, because it's confusing. Every day a guy is going somewhere else, or not picking your school, or maybe you still have a chance at that guy. So you kind of want to know where you stack up as far as the quarterback situation. I mean, that's what we're all waiting for, more so even than who will be the special teams coordinator, or who will coach the defensive line, or who will be the running backs coach. I think we care right now who will be the quarterback for Nebraska. And the transfer market continues to add new members as the bowl season gets to the midway point. The trend is that Nebraska could have some potential here with Chubba Purdy. That's the latest offer. We know that Adrian Martinez left a while back, and he is going to Kansas State. You've got Logan Smothers. You've got Heinrich Harburg, who potentially could fight for that job. But then you're wondering, what else? Miles Brennan is staying at LSU, as we know. That was a big blow to some in the recruiting world, which is becoming the transfer portal more and more. Max Johnson left LSU to Texas A&M. You had Keaton Slovis, who went from USC to Pitt. At one time, we thought Nebraska had a pretty good shot at him. He's off the market. Dylan Gabriel, once at UCF, has landed with Chip Kelly at UCLA. Bo Nix, who I was very interested in because he can run. He has the ability to move. He has gone from Auburn to Oregon. So it's starting to narrow. You still have Colin Basilak from Missouri. He was the co-freshman of the year in 2019. He entered the portal one day after the Tigers played their December 22nd game against Army and lost. You have a guy like Levi Williams, who played in the Potato Bowl and was the MVP. He played in the game, was the MVP, and then immediately he leaves the Cowboys after they beat Kent State. So he could be a possibility, I guess, for Nebraska. Preston Hutchinson. There's also Ben Bryant that are possibilities. Eastern Michigan is I believe, where Preston Hutchinson goes to school. You've got Emory Jones out there from Florida. Would that interest you, Bock?
No. He's got some athleticism. He'd be fun here and there, but
they just lost their bowl game.
I don't think you're improving over Adrian.
UCF kind of blew them out, right? And he did not look good in that game. So
he's pretty hit or miss generally.
He's got a big arm, but he doesn't seem very accurate.
Yeah.
Just guessing, what fits Mark Whipple the most, Mr. Whipple?
I think it's a pocket style quarterback. I mean, that's kind of what they've been after, and it makes you wonder, I think they're evaluating arm first. So they must have liked, regardless of what Purdy can bring to you on the ground, they must have liked where his arm was. But the other thing is maybe they struck out. Yeah. Maybe their idea going into the portal has not worked. We know they were after three guys and didn't get any of those guys. So you wonder, you kind of get, I'm starting to get fear. And I'm sure this happens to everybody around the country. Everybody wants Spencer Rattler, but nobody, only one team can get him.
I don't want him. I didn't want him. Yeah. You were the one that wanted him, and I didn't want him.
I'd say most people around the league would like a Quinn Ewers or a Spencer Rattler, some of those big names at the top.
That's right.
But it's tough to land those guys. There's a lot of schools courting these guys to come and basically even be a rental starter for a year, whatever it is. But I start to get a little bit worried once we know that they've been after a few guys and haven't been able to land them. You start to think, well, I honestly just start to think about the Bill Callahan coaching search, where you just kind of get too deep on your list of what you wanted going into the thing, and you just wonder if the whole plan has not gone according to plan, and that they're kind of in too deep. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think there's a possibility that you see a little bit of a difference in the offense, and maybe if it is a Purdy or a Logan Smothers, it won't be so quarterback reliant, which is something you've been working toward for years. So I mean, there's regardless of what happens, they're going to be able to field a team. They'll have 11 guys.
They'll field a team.
They-
Good news from Bock.
Well, they have
Nebraska will field a team
they
this
already
year.
have some quarterbacks in the room. I just the thing is with Purdy or a guy like that is I don't think that you're getting a starter. I don't think that you're.
It doesn't feel like enough experience from Purdy that you can really know what you're getting.
Yeah, I think you're getting competition, which is fine. Maybe that was part of the whole goal to begin with too. But
Evan Bland, who we'll talk to tomorrow, he's normally on Fridays, but we don't have a show on Friday, so we moved him to tomorrow. And we'll talk about this column that he's written about potential quarterbacks from the portal. He does mention that Casey Thompson of Texas has reportedly been in contact with Nebraska. He's a 23-year-old who still has 2 seasons left to play. He stepped into the portal on December 17th. He's my favorite out there. The son of Charles Thompson, who was a great quarterback at the University of Oklahoma, but he was an option-style quarterback. Originally from Oklahoma City, Thompson took over the starting duties in the 3rd game this year, ended with a Big 12 best 24 touchdown passes, also 2,100 yards, 9 interceptions, probably too many interceptions for a lot of people, but he's mobile. He's 6'1", 200, the son of Charles. There's Quinn Ewers out there who has joined Texas now. And so that's probably one of the big reasons that Thompson's now in the portal.
Yeah, and I think that would be probably the biggest name that I would like to out there, just because he's battle tested. He's thrown 30 touchdowns in his career. If you watch the Oklahoma game, you had quite fun watching him out there sling the ball for 5 touchdowns that game, 388 yards. Of course, they ended up losing because Oklahoma scored late on a what amounts to a draw, it seemed like, or a run play that was kind of a gamble instead of just going for the field goal, which would have won it anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess the problem you have there is that he does have the stats. He's got games where he can absolutely, has burned teams, but he's kind of got that Adrian Martinez stink to him, right? I guess where they just didn't win a whole lot of games, and I don't know if that's it. I think a lot of times like that Oklahoma game, I don't know how much of that's his fault, but I think that he would be worth the experience because that's. I know he didn't win games at Texas, but that's kind of what you were doing moving off of Adrian. If you could get a quarterback that you could think is kind of similar as far as, he hasn't played as many years as Adrian, but his production at least last year, it's at least worth a new go with somebody else in that position.
Cameron Ward is another name out there, Incarnate Word. He's transferring 6'3", 220, has become one of the top players on the market 2 years after his recruiting process. Out of a small town in southeast Texas. So he's a possibility. He still has 4 years to play 3, played 11 career games at Incarnate Word, completed 61% of his passes for 3,800 yards, 40 TDs, 7 interceptions. You would worry, I guess, about the possibility of a guy coming from Incarnate Word and what kind of a success would he have at this level. But he has an offer with Ole Miss and Virginia Tech and Indiana. I don't know if Nebraska has offered him. Then you have Connor Basliak of Missouri. So I don't know. Then there's Levi Williams, as we mentioned. I just it'll be interesting. It looks like Purdy, the latest offer might be the guy they're zeroing in on. And the only reason I say that is that Mark Whipple has had a previous relationship with him. You've seen the Christmas tree picture of Whipple.
Well, he tweeted out last night that he got an offer from Nebraska.
Yeah, but he had a previous relationship with Mark Whipple, so they've been interested in a while. Yeah, I knew about the offer, obviously, but who knows? And I think part of it is guys keep slipping, so you maybe you get the itchy trigger finger thinking, cool, school starts January 18th. You better get somebody.
Yeah. And again, I know the idea, and ideally you would have grabbed your starter out of there, out of the portal, and maybe that will still happen. Yeah. But it's like he would, if you take out the idea of your ideal quarterback or whatever, if you bring Purdy in, that is really good competition to add to Logan Smothers and Harburg for the new era or the new 1 year, whatever it is, whether you look at this upcoming year, that is legitimate competition. So there's at least that but I know a lot of people had higher hopes as you do with your team going into the portal or coaching search or anything. So we'll see how it plays out.
A couple texts here. Bock is the man. It says Eric. Also, remember when Incarnate Word beat Nebraska in basketball? I do remember that.
Yes.
Also, another text. What about Richard Torres? He is coming in. It's hard to think that Richard Torres is going to make a big impact as a freshman.
Yeah.
That's just
coming off an injury, by the way.
Coming off an injury, a big injury.
And played at a lower level in Texas. Kind of got the Harburg thing where they're going to have to adjust to the new college game.
I think he has big potential. I like his arm. I just think it's a bit of a project, maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, at least 2. And I would think the same thing with Harburg. He probably needs 1 more year before he hits the field as well.
But aren't you just glad that Nebraska's not going to have to lean on Adrian so much that style they're moving on? It's not, it's just, it felt like every game was so make or break. He had to play outside himself to win.
I'm with you that Frost needs to prove himself, and probably Adrian as well, without each other. That probably needs to happen. I just find it hard to believe they're going to find somebody better than Adrian at the same point. But you're right. They need to move on. Let's get the break. Come back with the more BC of Husker 24/7. We'll talk about some of these topics with him coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I mean, so many things you turn on now. You say it ain't so. Miami's not playing in the Sun Bowl.
Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so. Whoa, whoa. Sorry about that, Lincoln.
And
everybody.
Pro Bowl here today, so you never know.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Brokers Insurance Agency is currently hiring full-time and part-time insurance professionals. They will provide you with the training and education to obtain your insurance licenses. Brokers Insurance Agency takes pride in educating clients with the best insurance program to help their clients meet their specific goals. If you're a hardworking, motivated person and would like to discuss a great career opportunity with Brokers Insurance Agency, please call Ken Richards at 402-420-5353 or email service@brokersinsuranceagencyne.com. The team at Brokers Insurance Agency is looking forward to helping you get started with your insurance career.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Look around your house. You don't really have any room for Christmas gifts. Things are stuffed into closets, and your garage is a mess too. For a unique gift this holiday, call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for their Christmas organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that will be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. Storage options for cabinets, monkey bars shelving, or slat wall. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638. That's 730-1638.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association on this station.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, Tom and Bock. Tom Stevens here, Jake Bachhoven there. We'll have the pregame coming up within the next 20 minutes. Mentioned that Evan Bland will be moving to tomorrow. No show on Friday, Bock, so don't come in on Friday.
Okay, I can stay up and celebrate the new year then.
We'll have Robin Washit and Mitch Sherman on Thursday, which will be my final show. That's
Very
it.
sad. But happy as well.
I'm sad about it. I don't think anybody else is, but I'm a little sad about it. But I'll be back, as I mentioned, a chance to do possibly a weeknight show.
Yeah, ticket weeknights are on fire. To add you to that lineup would be awesome.
Fuego. It'll be on fire. It'll be the number 1-hour show in the state.
Yes, I believe it.
Probably the only number 1-hour show in the state. Let's introduce BC of Husker 24/7. Hi, BC. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
This is the last week. Is that what I heard?
This is the last week for me. You won't have me to kick around anymore, BC.
Well, I don't look at it that way. I've always enjoyed being on here with you. So,
yeah, well, we like having you on. We like, in fact, one of the reasons we wanted you on today, we would have had you on anyway, is that you wrote about leaders, and it is a big question going into next year. Who are the guys? I think maybe it's easier to pick the leaders on the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side, right?
It might be. I mean, I think you're talking about Garrett Nelson, Henrich Reimer, and maybe Ty Robinson, and then you figure it out. I like what Eric Shenander said about it, though, a couple weeks ago. And I do think we're all guilty of this in the off season because it's a long off season and we need something to talk about. But we tend to, by the end of 8 months of build up, have about 30 guys who are said to be leaders, or that they have those qualities. And really, we probably cast too wide a net with that. So Shenander's point is, you really need like 3 or 4 guys. Give me like 3 or 4 guys who are really like kind of above the crowd there. And then just a bunch of guys who do their job around those guys and can rally around them. And then you've got something. So I think Eric Shenander is pretty optimistic, even though there's a lot of changing parts right now about what they're, what they have coming back. I'm a little bit worried about their defensive line myself, but I think he, for possibly losing Damian Daniels and DeAndre Thomas and Ben Stilley, I think he's pretty hopeful about what they're going to be.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Are those names, like, obviously Ben Stilley's gone, but is there a chance that those guys could change their mind, or is it kind of onward to the NFL for sure for those guys?
Well, the only reason I phrased it like that, where it appears they're gone, is Shenander said sort of an interesting comment a couple weeks ago about how, we'll see on them. Like, he sort of left it open, like anything can happen. Guys still have a chance to change their mind. Obviously, those guys have made public announcements that suggest they're gone, and that's what I'm anticipating as well. And I'm talking about Damian and DeAndre. But, that the point is well taken that guys sort of have the next couple of weeks to decide for sure what their future holds in 22. So let's see. I mean, maybe there's a surprise change of mind. I don't expect that, but I that's why I just hedge my words a little bit.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7, our guest. You would have pointed to a guy like Cam Jurgens had he returned on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe you still would with Travis Vokalek at tight end. Who else? Who are some other names that could step up for Nebraska offensively?
Yeah, there you go. That's a good question. I think Vokalek's probably one of them. On the O line, that's where who is that leader? Who steps forward? Newelli's going to be a key guy, but he's pretty young in the system. Bryce Benhart's been around, but there's been some inconsistent play from him at right tackle. So you worry a little bit about it on the O line, maybe. At wide receiver, you are looking. I think you want guys like Xavier Betts and Omar Manning to kind of step into those roles. They've been around the block now. They're going to be the key guys, and maybe possibly them. Ramir Johnson, I think, could be a name you would mention as a possibility. But kind of going back to what Shenander said, guys have to earn it. I think we could say maybe this guy, maybe that guy. But the truth is, that's a question mark. Like who are the guys who sort of control the room on the offensive side? I think Vokalek's a good name though to start with.
Well, and it's interesting. Last night we saw Chubba Purdy announce that Nebraska had offered him, and it's interesting in several different ways. I mean, it kind of breaks the mold of the guys that they've been targeting in the portal. Also, he doesn't have that much experience. Would you think that it would be deemed a hit, or I don't want to say a failure, but a hit for the offseason list if they get a guy that's more for competition with Logan rather than a plug-and-play starter?
I think Purdy's interesting. I think Casey Thompson's interesting. I know Purdy announced last night, but Casey Thompson's on their radar and is definitely considering Nebraska from everything we've been told. And he's more of a veteran guy, 23-year-old guy with 2 years still to play. So I think they've got some lines in the water for two different types maybe. Casey's been around a little bit longer. Purdy sort of, if a guy like Purdy were to come in, I don't know that he has a distinct advantage over the others, but it adds to the competition, and that's a good thing. So I don't think we should just assume that just because he's a new face, he's better than the old faces. We sometimes tend to do that. I'd be all for it though. I've always said if they could bring in two guys, which would be hard to do because it's hard to sometimes convince a quarterback, hey, we're bringing in you and someone else. But if they were able to pull that off somehow in the portal this year, I'd be just fine with that. I think it would be good for the QB room, and I think guys should embrace the competition. But, yeah, Purdy's an interesting name because he was a big-time recruit. He sort of was figuring it out, just like the guys in Nebraska's program down at Florida State wants a fresh start. So I think he would have a fair shot at it, but I wouldn't necessarily just put him above the competition if he came in. Whereas if it's an older guy, like if it's a Casey Thompson or something like that, then I think there would sort of be an expectation, well, he's the clear favorite. So that's where it'll be interesting what happens in the next week or maybe in the next few days. I don't know. It felt like things heated up last night on the Casey Thompson Purdy front with just sort of some of the headlines and stuff that's out there.
Yeah, Casey Thompson, you bring him in, and we've speculated about this. If you bring a guy in with experience from the transfer portal, he is the front runner to be the starter. Maybe Chubba Purdy, not as much. And if you bring in both of them, what's that do to the rest of your roster at quarterback? You would think somebody might think about moving on, right?
Yeah, that's possible. That's just the way it is now, though. You got to, they know what they have inside that room and whether they believe in the guys fully or not. But you're right. Like if you bring in two guys, there's no saying you're not going to lose a guy then, you very well could. So it is sort of a delicate balance here. The big thing is getting a guy, that one guy at least, who you really feel like we can win with this guy right away. And that's where I don't know, of the names that have been mentioned, the most intriguing one to me for right now, this program situation, 22, is Casey Thompson. He remains that until he's off the table. What we were told last night is that he is very much considering Nebraska. And so until I hear otherwise, he's a pretty interesting name to me because, he's a guy who last year led the Big 12 in touchdown passes. He did throw 9 picks, so he had a little bit of that up and down part to his game, but he also played most of the season with a hurt thumb. You know, he ripped up Oklahoma's defense pretty good in the Red River game. So he remains, of the names that are still kind of out there floating in the wind and that I think Nebraska has a legit shot at, he's probably the most interesting to me.
And BC, this will be the last time we get to speak to you before the playoff game, so I did want to get your thoughts on that. If I said Alabama or the field, how do you feel?
You know what? I think I picked Georgia. I picked the field, I guess. That it's a fair question though, because I think Alabama will handle their business in the semi. And then, you know, Michigan and Georgia, I think, are going to beat each other up. I think that's going to be a physical game that probably goes the distance. But I know Georgia got sort of schooled in that SEC championship, but that's sort of why I would like them in a rematch. I actually think they might have a little bit more on Alabama this year. I've thought that throughout the season. Perhaps their defense was a little bit overcooked, and again, you know, we were kind of building them up to be the 85 Bears, and then they really had a tough day against Alabama, and you look at their schedule, and it actually wasn't as tough as some people made it out to be. But I kind of like Georgia. I don't know. I think Michigan's going to give them all they want, though. That to me is going to be the game of the bowl season is Michigan-Georgia.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7, covers Nebraska football and basketball. I'm sure you've seen this by now. The Big Ten today updated their COVID-19 forfeit policies for basketball. If a team can't play due to COVID within the program, they don't have to forfeit. That's the right way to go, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they obviously did that to take away a possible win from Nebraska this Sunday, right? I mean, that's what the conspiracy theorists would say. I think that game will be played Sunday from the sounds of what's going on at Ohio State. So, yeah, I think it's probably the right case. I think we're starting to see this. You've seen this in pro sports. I think they're going to start limiting the restrictions, you know, on guys for how long they have to sit out for certain things. And that's probably the right call at this point. I know this is a touchy issue. Everybody's got a different viewpoint on it. But yeah, I'm fine with the change by the Big Ten. And, you know, hopefully Nebraska basketball gets a fairly normal schedule now where it doesn't get disrupted and they're not playing every other night like last year.
What's realistic for Husker hoops the rest of the way? If I said over under 11 wins, where are you going?
I'd go under. You know, I'd love for them to prove me wrong. I really would. But I mean, I'm just going off the data we've seen so far this season. They have had some time to sort of work on whatever adjustments Fred Hoiberg wanted to over the break. And so you got to factor in maybe that can change something. Trey McGowan's coming back in mid-January would be a huge bonus. But, you know, you wonder, like, is he immediately going to be full go, or is that going to take some time for him to kind of catch back up? So it's just been kind of tough break after tough break, and then a team that's really shot it poorly. I'm having a hard time. I think I said on the show last week, if you set the conference over under their win total at like 2.5 or something, 3.5, I'd struggle with it. I really would. And I don't say that to be snarky. I just, you know, the last 2 years they won 7 games each. And so until they prove otherwise, I sort of am like, show it to me, you know, and I think that's how a lot of this fan base is now.
If it is under 11, do you feel safe in saying that Hoiberg is still back?
I do. I think he's coming back if he wants to come back. I mean, I think Trev, from everything I've ever heard Trev Albert say about Fred Hoiberg, believes he's a very good coach. I do too. I know it's been a really rough go here. I sort of canceled out his first season as sort of just whatever. I hate to call it year zero like PJ Fleck used to do, but I kind of looked at it that way. I definitely think he should have one more go at it, at least. But, you know, I assume he wants to do that too, but I don't know, you know. I mean, this has been sort of not what was envisioned, so I guess that's the question. But yeah, I think he's going to be back, and I think it's going to be, you know, they got to look in the mirror though and say, how are we building this thing? Are there some real, you know, tweaks we have to make? in the sort of the process of how we're putting this roster together.
Yep. Hey, BC, love talking to you for about 10 years now, and we'll catch you down the road.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tom. I wish you all the best, and I have always appreciated being on here. I wish you guys a happy new year and whatever comes next.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. Good stuff. There he is. There he goes.
You didn't get your Vikings question in.
That's right. I didn't get into talk Vikings. I think I bring BC down when I talk Vikings football.
Yeah, a little bit.
Haven't you noticed that? I'll bring up a Vikings. He goes, oh, we don't have to talk Vikings
Makes
football.
him feel bad to think about it sometimes.
I meant to talk a little Vikings football. What do you think about what he said? I guess I was more engaged with that.
Oh, yeah.
Casey Thompson. I mean, if they get Casey Thompson, I think the excitement meter goes up in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, it does. I think he's the biggest fish left out in the portal right now. Like Christopherson said, leading the Big 12 in touchdown passes, that's no small feat. That's tough to do. So that would be exciting. That'd be a big get.
Doesn't it feel like you're replacing Adrian with another kind of Adrian?
Yes. But that's like we've been saying, that's not bad because Adrian was one of the better names in the portal.
Yeah.
And if Adrian came from another school, he'd be one of the big targets for Nebraska to go get. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. But to get a guy that's had that sort of experience that played in the Big 12 and played in meaningful games and had success in those games, that's what you're looking for more so. And it's nothing against if they land Purdy and it's just competition. Like that's nice too. It's a solid get, but it's not the starter. I want him to get a starter out of the portal, and Casey Thompson's one of the few out there that I think falls in that category.
I wasn't excited. I told you on the air, I wasn't excited about Keaton Slovis, and I wouldn't be excited about Miles Brennan, but I would be excited about Casey Thompson.
Yeah. And he's not Adrian in the fact that he's going to try to run for 600 yards a game or 600 yards a season. He doesn't run that much,
but he can run.
He can run. That's the point. He runs to kind of get open, but that's the kind of quarterback I think you like is the mobile ones that can do it, but only run for about 150, 200 yards a season where that's part of the game plan is not to get them beat up. Right. And I think that's what Mark Whipple would envision. It would be a perfect kind of combination of if you need to go to one of Frost's play calls, you can do it, but for the most part, keep him protected and try to win with his arm more so than his legs.
All right, let's get to break. Come back with the pregame. Rico and Nick will be here in moments. Come back.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Look around your house. You don't really have any room for Christmas gifts. Things are stuffed into closets, and your garage is a mess too. For a unique gift this holiday, call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for their Christmas organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that will be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. Storage options for cabinets, monkey bars shelving, or slat wall. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638. That's 730-1638.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Decreasing cloud cover today will reach a high of 44, but temperatures fall this afternoon behind a strong cold front, which will also bring north winds gusting over 25. Partly cloudy tonight with low dropping down to 14. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow, a chance at some light snow, and only a high of 29. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Brokers Insurance Agency is currently hiring full-time and part-time insurance professionals. They will provide you with the training and education to obtain your insurance licenses. Brokers Insurance Agency takes pride in educating clients with the best insurance program to help their clients meet their specific goals. If you're a hard-working, motivated person and would like to discuss a great career opportunity with Brokers Insurance Agency, please call Ken Richards at 402-420-5353 or email service@brokersinsuranceagencyne.com. The team at Brokers Insurance Agency is looking forward to helping you get started with your insurance career.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Parents, if you've been waiting for FDA approval to get your teen vaccinated, the time is now. The FDA has approved the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for use in preventing COVID-19. While this is the first vaccine to gain FDA approval, all COVID-19 vaccines have been proven to be effective against the coronavirus. Want to reduce your teen's risk of hospitalization while protecting yourself and your community? Get your teen vaccinated today. Visit vaccinate.ne.gov to get started.
Every time we make the choice to drive, we're making a choice that could have life or death consequences. Friedman Law Offices has proudly sponsored our holiday taxi service for 30 years. This year, we're proud to partner with Z-Trip to keep Lincoln's streets safer. Between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. from December 15th to New Year's Day, you can get a free ride home if you've had too much to drink. Just call 402-474-SAFE or click Let Friedman Drive at friedmanlaw.com. Friedman Law Offices. Helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
Beatrice Bakery has been serving Nebraska with one-of-a-kind Grandma's Fruitcake since 1964. You already know that, but did you know they offer way more than that? You've got to try their line of liqueur cakes, like the strawberry daiquiri cake or the vanilla rum cake. Or what about their breakfast breads, the banana nut bread, or their various streusel coffee cakes? Whatever the occasion, Beatrice Bakery has something for you. Oh yeah, and Grandma's Fruitcake? It's still pretty darn good. Beatrice Bakery, located in downtown Beatrice, or always online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Back to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment, Tom and Bock. Nick joins us. Watching the Birmingham Bowl right now. Auburn leads Houston, 20th ranked Houston, 13-10 right now with 12 minutes left to go.
Boo. I want the SEC to keep losing, even though I'm a big SEC fan. But yeah.
I didn't know you were a big SEC fan.
Oh, I love the SEC. It's great football. I love and CBS theme song.
That watching Alabama and Georgia play in the SEC championship game, the way that those guys fly around.
That's the best game I watched all year, and it wasn't even close.
You realize how far other conferences.
You understand, guys? They cheat. They're cheaters. That's what they do.
Not anymore. It's legal to cheat now, Tom.
Oh, that's right. Oh, so it's fine.
Yeah,
I would like Auburn to win for some reason. I do like Auburn, but I don't like all of the SEC. I don't know why I like Auburn.
Why do you like Auburn?
I don't know.
Are you a Brian Harsin
guy? The colors. I like the colors. I've always been. I was a Cam Newton fan.
Yeah.
Can you name their quarterback now that Bo Nix is gone?
Bo Nix is no longer there. No, I can't.
I can't either, so I was honestly curious. Tank Bigsby, their starting running back, is gone as well. Tank Bigsby, guy I want at Nebraska.
I would take
for
that.
the name.
Absolutely.
He is literally a tank. He's huge. Although he cost them the Alabama game by running out of bounds.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say cost them. They could have won if he did win. I get what you're saying.
If he just falls down, they win that game.
But also, through the rest of the game, other players could have made plays to win that game.
No. It's all Tank's.
It's all Tank's fault.
It's all Tank's fault.
That's right. I'm not going to fault somebody with the name Tank.
Are you guys more excited tonight for the Mike Leach Bowl between Mississippi State and Texas Tech, or for the Big Ten to get its way going when Minnesota takes on West Virginia?
Mike Leach Bowl. I don't care.
You don't care about Minnesota? Or
No.
you don't care about the Mike Leach?
I don't care about Minnesota and West Virginia. Why would I care about
Minnesota's bringing back a lot. They're going to be a beast in the West next year.
Here's my hot take. I don't care about Mike Leach, and I will watch Minnesota and West Virginia.
Well, I do
I
like
like your face there, man.
I know. I like.
Oh my
I
God.
like.
my
How could you
gosh.
say that? Who doesn't like?
I just got lit up.
Dude, Mississippi State and Texas Tech is going to be like 1,000,000 to 1,000,001. Like, why aren't you excited for that? There's going to be zero defense played, and I am fine
I'm
with
just
that.
not a Mike Leach guy.
Mike Leach has gone
Love
into this
Leach.
game talking how trash about how they've not been as good since he left Texas Tech.
And he wants his check.
He wants his money from Texas.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's
They
not
have
wrong
it.
either.
Wouldn't it be funny if they just brought one of those big golf check type things out and handed?
They're like, here you go, Mike.
Only if you win, though.
That's right. Only if you win. Winner take all.
No, it'd be better if they do it when he loses.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Because they're just like, hey, congratulations, you lost the game. Here's your money. Get out.
Here's our bowl money that we don't need.
Here's your money. Get out.
God, I cannot believe you just lit me up, Bock.
I know who doesn't like Mike Leach. If you're a college
There's a
football
lot
fan,
of people that don't like
Mike
Leach.
Leach.
That was
a pirate.
The biggest I've seen Bock's eyes ever.
That shook me because I knew you're a huge college football
He got
guy.
scared.
I am.
He's like,
But
I
you
am.
don't like Leach?
I'm not a Mike Leach guy.
He's so weird. I
just think
I like the weirdness of Mike Leach.
Would you guys like Mike Leach at Nebraska?
Yes.
No.
Mike Leach would not fit here, but I would love
Bingo.
him here.
I don't think I would like Mike.
If you want to go 7-5 and break a lot of passing
That's right.
records, sure. But
Here's a question: Who
wouldn't you take 7-5?
right now 7-5 is perfect.
We
yeah,
were said
absolutely.
just get to 5 at
Yeah.
one point.
would you rather have Mike Leach or Kirk Ferentz? Kirk
Oh,
Ferentz
nice.
post Iowa.
Well, Ferentz
So
would fit the
after-
Big Ten certainly better than
Mike
Leach.
Leach.
Do we have to bring his son, the son
Yep,
Ferentz, along as well?
Brian's your offensive coordinator.
Mike. Give me Mike.
Yeah.
If I need to have shots
Easy,
fired. If I
easy.
need to have a head coach that's an offensive coordinator, I'm taking Mike Leach.
To be fair, though, it would fit in the Big Ten West. We're always talking about that. I mean, Ferentz would be.
But
Here's my question: who would win more NFL games, Urban Meyer or Kirk Ferentz? You think Ferentz would have done better with the Jaguars?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Maybe
neither-
because I don't think he would have said anything. Like he wouldn't have said anything.
He
to
wouldn't have
take-
gotten his own
Kirk
way.
Yeah,
Ferentz-
Yeah, but he
wouldn't have-
hired the same weight coach.
He wouldn't have
No,
hired.
he
the-
fired him.
Well, he
Urban
didn't,
hired
he
him.
didn't want to fire him.
Kirk would not be at the club in Cincinnati.
right,
True,
yeah.
true.
Kirk. That's when it all
Kirk
really
Ferentz
got
isn't
downhill.
kicking his kicker and saying I'm the head ball coach. Kirk Ferentz
I'm
is
not
just
sure
there and
he's
he's just
not.
like yeah, I guess we'll play some games.
Kirk Ferentz is going up to his kicker. Josh Lamb would be like, "You are my favorite player on this team. Just
We-
don't tell
we
anybody.
need you more than anybody."
You are my favorite athlete.
Look, we're not going to score any touchdowns, but we're going to get down there a lot.
We're gonna
so
need you a lot.
You're
okay?
needed.
Josh
Nebraska
Lambo,
is in on 2 possible quarterback transfers: Chuba Purdy and
No.
Casey Thompson. Who do
Yes.
you want Casey Thompson?
Yes.
Why?
I was watching Casey Thompson highlights. Dude can sling it.
Oh yeah.
He's pretty accurate. I need to look up some more to see if he can. I think he can run.
He can run.
I'm pretty
He's
sure he can
capable.
run.
He's
but
mobile.
the highlights I watched were from the Oklahoma game,
Oh,
and he stood in the pocket and was delivering darts.
I told Bock he reminds me of another Nebraska quarterback who wore the number 2.
Adrian
Called Adrian.
Martinez.
He reminds me a little
Why?
bit of Adrian. He makes a lot of mistakes.
he only had
and
9 picks.
That's a lot of picks.
That's
lost-
not a lot of picks.
It's partially about the timing. They lost a lot of games. It's part of the reason
They
why
did,
they're
but
amongst-
also their defense was garbage.
right.
would
So
he-
they were putting a lot on him.
Here's a question: would he still be at Texas if Quinn Ewers didn't transfer there?
No,
Hmm.
he would not.
Oh,
No, wait, yes.
He might-
Sorry.
Yes,
I got that one
Yeah,
wrong.
I
Yes.
think so. He had the starting job locked up if Quinn Ewers doesn't come there.
Didn't he get benched?
Yeah.
Did he get benched?
I, have to
I
double
thought he
check
got
later
benched
in
a
the
little
season.
way through the season. They brought in another
He had an
quarterback.
injury, a lingering injury.
might have
so
been that.
might
He might have
been
got hurt.
part of the problem,
I don't
Was
know.
he there under Herman as well?
Like-
He was there under Herman. Yeah.
I don't know. Do either one of those excite you guys?
Yes, Casey Thompson
Casey Thompson's
does.
like the less.
Have
there's
you
not
watched
many names
Have
in
you
the
watched
portal.
Chuba Purdy highlights? He puts his
Shot put, bro.
entire body into every
He
throw.
puts effort into it.
That's not effort, Tom.
I just think it was funny, and I'm not trying to take shots at Huskers Nation, but I just think it was funny.
I am.
Judging by the reaction last night when Chuba announced his offer. Everybody was just on Twitter. This is our guy. I'm so excited for Chuba Purdy.
I am also
Yeah.
excited for a backup quarterback at a crappy program.
Is it possible they bring in both? I think they're going to bring in both. They
What's
could bring
what's
in
that
both.
mean for the rest of the guys in the room right now?
Logan will leave.
They're going to
Logan leaves. Heinrich leaves.
I don't
think-
know if Heinrich.
I think it's possible they bring in both and somebody leaves. That's currently the program.
That would be insane.
It'll be
I-
fascinating. 'cause
I do not doubt them bringing in 2 quarterbacks. I don't know if it's
I
these
think
2.
Purdy would be a sophomore, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But regardless, you bring all these guys
got 1
in,
year.
Logan's breathing down their neck. I mean, if there's a few games you lose, I mean, it's going to be the quarterback competition is going to last all season, and I can't wait.
I don't
That's
know.
what, that's what we thought last year when a guy broke his jaw.
You got 1 year. You got 1 year to get it right.
And we'll see if that happens. We got it right for today. Now we're leaving. Pre-game's over. It's time for happy hour with Nick and Rico on the way next. Bye-bye.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone